Hey everybody! Holy crap! It's Friday again already.
I know, I can't believe it.
Why is it so bright in here? It needs to stop.
It's terrible.
Well, it seemed like it fixed for a second and then it fucked up again. Oh well, not much I can do about it. But hey everybody.
I was sleeping.
Yeah,
pretty much.
What the hell was that all about?
I don't know. I fell asleep.
You've been at the bar all day.
Yeah.
Tom's like the barfly.
Yeah.
When'd you get back? Like it was 4:30 or 5.
Something.
I think it was 4:30 or 5.
Yeah, I laid down and fucking fell asleep.
Yeah, he'll
terrible.
do that.
It's terrible. Went to the Mexican restaurant too and got some Mexican food. Got a chimichanga.
Chimichanga.
Yeah, it was good.
I actually
was talking to the owner's son. He lifts and shit. So we were talking gym talk. You know, he's only like 25, 26. So, you know, just talking.
Just talking.
Just how it is, yeah.
I decided I was going to give Domino's another chance.
Oh, yeah? Did you order it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got a sandwich and a salad. Yeah, they did much better this time. And honestly, since the last time, they've actually implemented that tracking device thing. Okay. So you can watch on the computer, like, where exactly the car is. You know what I mean? So they made the shit. It even says, like, if you go on the Domino's thing and you order it, it even says, here's your order, and then it's like, bake, and then it says your order's in the oven at whatever time, and then it's like, now they're doing quality check, and now it's delivery, and then the little car comes toward your house. Yeah. So you can see, like, where the lady is.
Last time she ordered from Domino's, it never showed up, and then she canceled it. And then I went outside, and it was sitting outside fucking with the ants all on it.
Well, yeah, because, I ordered it, and then it took like an hour and a half, and I was like, fuck, and I kept trying to call them and be like, yeah, can I just cancel it? And then finally we were like, fuck it, we're going to go get Chinese food. Right. And then we went out the door to get Chinese food, and, like, the Domino's, like, sitting on the... And I don't know how long it had been sitting there, but it had ants on it. For a while. So I guess...
It had ants on it.
They just left it on the doorstep.
Well, I didn't know... Here's the thing. I'm kind of lying. I didn't realize there were ants. So I picked it up, and then some of it was cold. Remember that?
Yeah, because it was. I usually don't get pizza. Yeah. I usually get like a salad and like a regular garden salad and a sandwich.
Yeah, it was cold. So I put it in the refrigerator, and then a few minutes later, looked in there, and the ants were in the bag.
Yeah.
Trying to stay warm, and I was like, Jenny, there's ants in this. I threw it away.
Because we had already eaten by that point. We went and got Chinese food. Right. But I said, I'm going to see what happens because I didn't feel like going anywhere to get food. And Domino's is really close. And it had been a long enough time. I said, maybe they got their shit together. Because I think maybe what happened last time was that they didn't really have anybody to deliver it. And so maybe they had one person and they were kind of like run ragged and they were just kind of like, fuck it, whatever. And it was like taking so long. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but this time, I mean, the food came in within 10 minutes. Like, they made it and, you know, they put it in the oven and they brought it and it was completely fine. Like, the lady came and dropped it off. And like I said, it took like 10 minutes and it was good. So like I said, I'll give them another chance. Domino's isn't my favorite, but like I said, it's close. There's not really a lot of options around here if you want something delivered. You know what I mean? Like, I think the Chinese place will you can get, like, DoorDash and stuff like that, but there's not a lot of restaurants really close by, so I feel like DoorDash might take a fucking hour or something like that. So I just called Domino's because I had too much shit to do, and I didn't really want to have to, like, go and drive and get something. So, you know.
All right, so it looks like everybody's all showing up. Everybody's fucking coming in. What are they saying, Jim? It is Saturday with open line Saturday.
It's Friday.
Excuse me, Friday. Yeah.
You don't know what fucking day it is.
Open line is Friday, and anything. Look at Poke.
What is she doing?
She's fucking stepping on the back of it with her feet. Just the funniest thing. She'll go up to her toys and she'll grab with her front foot, throw it underneath her back foot, and go. And she goes,
like stomps on it with her back feet.
I
don't know why.
And it's fast. Yeah, like something like a rabbit would do.
She's such a weirdo. You know what she did the other night? I don't remember what time it was. I think it was like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was sleeping, and all of a sudden I feel like, because my foot was sticking out the bottom of the covers, and all of a sudden I feel boop, like her little wet, cold nose, like booped to the bottom of my foot. And it scared me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I knew what it was, but it scared me. And I was like, what the hell? And then, you know how we have those, like, laser lights in the bedroom that look like a galaxy, like, up on the ceiling? Yeah, well, we obviously, so we obviously, like, turned them off, like, before we go to sleep, because I can't sleep with that much light in the room. But they turned on by themselves. So I guess Pookie was, like, warning me, hey, the light's on and it's not supposed to be on.
Right.
And I was like, what? That's fucking weird. And then Tom was like, what the fuck? And I was like, your lights came on.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that, because we can see, like, his man cave is, like, down the hall, and the door was open. And I could see that the light that he had in there, which is kind of one of those, like, RGB lights, was, like, flashing, like, weird colors. And I was like, what the hell is going on in there?
Yeah, power outage.
Yeah, so I think when I got up the next morning, the clock on the... It's weird, because the little digital clock that I have on the nightstand... It wasn't flashing, but the time said 2:30 a.m., even though it was 7:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Because I looked at the clock, I'm like, what the fuck? I know it's obviously not 2:30 a.m. And it was, like, really weird. But I thought it was weird because when the light down the hall started flashing, like, Pookie was on the bed, like, you know, poking my foot, and then she saw that, and she was like, brrr! Yeah, and she jumped down, and she ran over there and, like, looked at it, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she points at things.
Mommy!
Look!
Look!
Yeah, look, it's not right.
That's not correct.
Yeah, it's flashy.
What's going on? I'm scared.
Yeah, she's a smart cat.
Yeah, she always like warns you if something is different than usual.
Right.
She always kind of like warns. She's like, what is going on here? She'll like look at you like, is it okay?
Lights are wrong.
Yeah.
The lights are all wrong. Yeah. They were wrong. You're right, Poke.
But it was just funny. So her little nose is like, boop, like on the bottom of my foot. Yeah. Hey. Gramthars said Bauhaus are playing in Detroit on September 16th. So you should do a road trip up there. We should do a road trip up there.
Where?
In Detroit, I just said. Yeah.
I'm not go up there to see not go up there to see them.
Well, I mean, we could go up there and like do other things as well, and then see them too. But how long it would take to drive to Detroit from here?
About 9-10 hours.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, about 9-10 hours.
I've driven to.
Wait, well, hold on. It's a double shift, so 16.
Oh, okay.
About 16.
That's still not that bad. I've driven from Orlando to Baltimore before. How long did that take? I want to say it took 10 hours. Maybe it was longer than that.
But I used to be able to ride 12 to 16 hours like it was nothing. But, shit, man. Nowadays, when you get older, you get kind of soft. You're like, I don't want to fucking ride that amount of time.
You get lazy. It's like, it's so much work.
Like, it's a lot of work.
I'm tired. Yeah. I'm old now.
I'd rather jump on a plane and be there in a couple of hours.
Honestly, I don't really like being in the car. I don't really like driving, but I would rather do almost anything than like flying a fucking airplane. I hate flying a fucking plane.
She doesn't like to fly.
I hate flying. I mean, I will if I had to, absolutely, but I really hate it.
I love it.
I really hate it. Yeah. It just gives me horrible stress, and I don't. It didn't used to, but I did it a bunch of times, and it just got worse and worse every single time. DJ Maniac, yeah, go to Detroit and get shot in the dick by RoboCop.
You say it again? Oh, go ahead.
Get shot in the dick by RoboCop. Yeah. Sure, why not?
Yep.
Zach is saying that he had to order from Panera because that's healthier. I actually really like Panera, but I don't know where the closest one. There used to be one fairly close to our old house, but I don't know where the closest one is around here. Pretty much all that's close to our house is the Japanese restaurant, the Chinese takeout, a like breakfast and lunch place that closes at 2, an ice cream and coffee place, and Domino's.
Yeah. And
Publix that has, they have a deli and stuff. But that's about it. I mean, there's probably other stuff close, but like I said, if you want delivery, even from DoorDash or something like that, it would probably take a really long time if you order from somewhere farther away, I would imagine. Tom has morning sickness.
I have morning sickness?
Are you pregnant, Tom?
No.
What have you been trying to tell me?
Nothing. I'm not pregnant.
You're not pregnant. What is she doing? Down
there.
What are you doing, sweetie?
What's up?
You want to be on the show?
Yeah, she realized that the show just started.
She's very mad at me because finally that sun stopped glaring in the window. I hate that. It's been so fucking windy today. I can't even. I feel like it sounds like something is hitting the window, but I can't imagine what it could be because there's no trees right there. Is there?
It's at the other end of the house.
Oh, it sounds like it's right there. Because I was like, I'm in here working. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
It might be that weather stripping.
I guess.
Remember that weather stripping?
Because I was like, it sounded like a tree, but the two windows of this office are right over the garage, which is right over the driveway. There's no trees that are close enough to
I'll go check it.
knock into it.
It's probably that weather strip.
But I was really, really loud. It sounded like a fucking tornado out there today. Jesus Christ. I don't know what the fuck. Jesus Christ. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Gramthars could show you Detroit. This is a third person again. Crackheads shouting at the sky, bloody needles in the park, packs of ghetto dogs roaming in the streets, block after block of burned out homes. It sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of fun. You
I already
alright?
dealt with that today. I was down at the biker bar. I already dealt with that today.
Oh, I haven't heard this story yet. What happened? I was just going to ask you what happened what's shaking down at the Oasis.
Yeah.
Midnight at the
I just
Oasis.
fucking pull up, saying hi to all the regulars and fucking put my gear up. And some chick fucking comes in there and can I sit down here? And I was like, yeah, okay.
If you must.
And I'm looking at her. And,
which is probably what I would have said.
Yeah, like, yeah, okay. She goes, I hate to ask you, but I have a drink. I go, here we go. So I said, yeah, go ahead and get her a fucking beer.
Oh, you sucker.
And it was a beer after a beer, fucking 3 of them, and she didn't make any goddamn sense. Every time she opened her mouth, it didn't make any sense. She was something wrong with her. I think she had paranoid schizophrenia. She thought Putin was after her. Putin was after her. I'm trying to think what else she said. The Hells Angels were after her.
The Wendigo was after her, probably? No, not the Wendigo?
About that,
okay.
yeah. And then that was about it.
I hate to make fun of mental illness.
Yeah, she looked like she hadn't bathed in a day or two.
And you bought her beers?
Yeah, I was just kind of babysitting her a little bit. But the bartender there, I don't think she charged me.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And I don't think she charged me. She knew I was trying to keep this under control.
Kind of placate her.
Yeah.
Because if you'd said no, she probably would have like fucking wigged out.
Yeah. I guess. She goes, who is that? She goes, I don't know. She's got something wrong with her. You know, that's what she says in between, you know. She goes, what do you mean she's something wrong with her? And she goes, well, she says Putin's after her. And it sounds like paranoid schizophrenia. And she goes, oh, my daughter has that. And I said, yeah, that's what it is. And she
Yikes.
goes, yeah, she's a little bit handicapped. And then I said, on the side, she said she was a woman of the trade. So she's she's one of those.
She's a hooker.
Yeah. But she didn't.
So she was trying to get some shit out of you.
She didn't make a play. I don't know. It might have just been crazy. She might have just been crazy. All right. And then about 2 drinks into it, I says, "You don't steal, do you?" And she's like, "No, I don't steal." I tried to entertain her, but it really didn't. Anything she said, it didn't make sense, and she laughed. And anything I told her, she didn't understand, and she still laughed. It's one of those. It's one of those. So I said, "You don't steal, do you?" She goes, "No, I don't steal." And I said, "I'll be back in a second."
Much.
And I went to the restroom. When I came back, she was gone.
She didn't take any of your shit.
She was like,
did she take your wallet?
No.
Okay.
I just didn't want her to take my tablet. Or the glasses. And bartender was like, "Where'd she go?" And I was like, "I don't know. I think she's in the bathroom." And she goes, "I don't know." She says, "No, she's not here." Because there's only 5 people in the damn place at that time. And so she must have left.
So she like slipped out with anybody seeing her? That's crazy.
Yeah. Like a ninja.
Maybe that's her. Maybe she's a ninja. Maybe that's her cover.
Yeah.
That she's like a crazy paranoid schizophrenic who hangs out in bars on the day.
No one had ever seen her before. It was a trip.
Maybe she's a supernatural creature of some kind. I sense a horror story.
No.
No, I'm getting ideas. That would be a good opening for a story, actually.
She had teeth. So,
you know what? I was actually going to ask you that exact question. Like, how many teeth did she have?
No, she had teeth.
Okay.
She had teeth, so
she didn't have meth.
So I don't think it was meth. It was just mental illness.
Which, like I said, it's sad, but it's like, I don't know. Look, for a long time, like, I grew up in Daytona, which isn't, it's kind of rednecky. It's not quite as rednecky as this, but areas of it are rednecky. And for a long time, I didn't have a car, so I had to take the bus. And the thing about Daytona and Volusia County in general and Florida in general, really, if you don't have a car, you're kind of fucked.
You're crazy.
Because the bus systems are spotty at best. Yeah. And most people have cars because everything's so spread out.
Far apart.
So it takes like an hour and a half to get anywhere you want to go, one. And two, the only people who ride the bus are people who can't drive for whatever reason. Because they're too old, or they're too mentally handicapped, or they've had too many DUIs, or something. Yeah. So when you ride the bus, it's always a thrill.
Yeah.
To see who's going to end up sitting next to you and what they're going to smell like. And what they're going to talk to you about, because of course they're going to talk to you. They're not just going to like leave you alone.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I think it's funny when...
After a while, I was just like, you know what? I think I'm just going to walk everywhere, even if it's like 8 miles.
Yeah, I think it's funny when I hear people comment about, well, they need public transportation. And you look at who's talking, it's somebody from Europe or Boston, and you just start laughing. You go like, yeah. I'd love to see you ride public transportation down here.
But like I said, the reason that public transportation down here is like that is because everything's so spread out and most people don't use it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you only get kind of like, you know, the dregs. I hate to say that because that's like sounds judgmental, but it's people that otherwise can't drive for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's not always bad. Like sometimes it's just people that are blind or whatever. It's like, you know, not everyone was, or they're just old, you know, and they can't drive anymore. So it's not like, you know, everybody on there is a nightmare. But I remember one guy, and he was actually kind of famous in Daytona. I think his name was Jerry. I'm sure he's probably dead by now. But he used to ride the bus all the time. And he always had a bunch of towels like wrapped around his head like a turban, like a bunch of them, like a whole bunch of towels wrapped around his head. And then like around his like midsection, he had, you know, those like plastic visors, you know, like you get them from bars and shit like that at spring break or whatever. He had like a whole shitload of those. He had like a whole collection. The weird thing about it was that even though he obviously looked like a crazy person because he had a towel turban on and was covered with plastic visors, if you talk to him, he actually seemed normal. He didn't smell too good, gotta say. He didn't look homeless, and so he didn't look dirty. You know what I'm saying? And like some of the bus drivers, because some of the people are like, what's that dude's deal? And they're like, we don't think he's homeless, because a lot of times like they pick him up in the same place and they assume that it was his apartment or he lived there, but they didn't really know why he went around like that. Yeah. Like if maybe he thought that I don't know, maybe he was protecting his head from something, or maybe he had like a giant unicorn horn. I don't fucking know. I'm just making stuff up. But I remember they even did like an article about him in the paper, because I guess everyone was kind of curious, like, what is this dude's deal? Like I said, it would be different if he just came across as, you know, an obvious crazy person, but he didn't. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't homeless either.
Tyler says, if I met a schizophrenic ninja, I'd tell everybody about it. Yeah, she was. she definitely had some kind of schizophrenia, but she was also hitting around. She wanted coke, and she wanted to know if I had any meth, and you know, and I was like, no. And then
I got some right here in my pocket.
Yeah. And
take all you want.
She kept sniffing.
All kind of meth.
Sniffing her fucking nasal passages were all fucked up. But then she wasn't making any sense. It just, and she thought Putin was after her. What else did she say? And that they didn't love America. That was another thing. She was highly patriotic. A highly patriotic crackhead. The problem with all this shit is that they don't love America. And then see what else she said. It was kind of funny, you know. Just didn't know if I could turn my back on her. But she didn't weigh anything, you know. She's like 5'2" and didn't weigh anything. You know?
Yeah, if she tried to think you could just pop her one.
Yeah. She was just
like I said, I hate to be like that, but that's the thing. It's like I hate to be like that because a lot of the times they can't help it. You know what I mean? But on the other hand, you don't really want to deal with it either. Because I don't really, honestly, to be honest with you, when I go out in public, I don't even like to deal with normal people too much. So if somebody has like some problems and they're gonna be like all up in your grill, I'm really not having that. I really don't like that.
I asked her a bunch of questions, and each answer had nothing to do with the question that I asked her. The only thing that she answered was, "This is what's your name?" And she goes, "Rebecca." That was it. Other than that, I would be like, just any question was, like, "So what do you do for a living?" And then she would just tell me about fucking
this.
pool. There's nothing made any damn sense. What are you doing, pool kid?
It's just
kind of. The bartender was like, "You all right?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm okay." So I was just kind of babysitting, and that
that was nice.
She slammed 2 or 3 drinks,
which
I guess I didn't pay for, and then she walked out. But that was a funny one. I asked if I could film her. She wouldn't let me. I was gonna put her on a show.
Well, yeah, that's gonna make her even more paranoid.
Yeah,
because she's gonna think you're working for like her persecutors.
Well, she said it never works out. So she said.
What? She doesn't show up on film?
No,
she is a supernatural creature. I told you.
It never works out. She goes, I don't like that. It never works out. That's what she said. I said, okay.
Maybe she just meant she doesn't look good on camera.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that sounds like something a woman would say. Like, don't film me, it doesn't work out.
It never works out.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's.
She was wearing them fucking little. She was basically barefoot with them flip flops, and I said, "How big are your feet?" She goes, "They're size 6." And I said, "Those are little feet." And she goes, "Yeah." She liked that. And I said, "Her feet."
That's the same size feet as I have.
So those are little feet. And she's like, "Yeah."
They are little feet.
So she laughed about that for a while.
They're little feet, but
you just have to keep them entertained. It's like children, Yeah.
Well, you don't want them going too far off into Crazy Town.
No,
because you never know what they're gonna do. You know what I mean?
You never know what's gonna happen.
Which, like I said, that's really scary. Yeah. So you said that's like somebody said that their daughter had that.
Yeah, the bartender says my daughter has that. That's what they do. And she's like, they can't help it.
No, I know.
She's off her medication. That's what the bartender.
I saw a documentary a while back about schizophrenia,
she's off her medication.
I remember seeing that, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, that's got to be one of the worst things that could happen to a person." And a lot of times it doesn't I think part of it is genetic, but it can kind of like hit you just at random, and a lot of times it doesn't manifest until you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
And then it'll just suddenly, and I'm like, oh my god, that's going to be the fucking worst.
Yeah, I told the bartender, it isn't like she showered. She goes, yeah. She goes, they come off that medication and they forget to shower. They'll go like that for days.
Yeah.
And,
Well, they have, like you said, they have delusions. That's a very common thing where they think, like, the government or somebody like that is monitoring them. Right. Or remember that girl that, is she Korean or, I think she was Korean. She had that YouTube channel. Do you know who I'm talking about? It's pretty famous. I'm pretty sure she was a Korean girl, and she had a YouTube channel. And it's on all of those kind of like YouTube creepiest. I think we even talked about it on our creepy YouTube video show. Where she filmed herself all the time, and she would never leave her apartment. And she thought everybody was like, she would make like all these signs, and she thought like people were coming in there and like moving stuff around, and all these people were like coming together and stuff. Now, she was actually on... The people that were coming in there were, people from like the social services, and they were coming to check on her to make sure she was eating and doing okay. But she got paranoid, and she thought they were coming in there stealing things or, doing stuff to her while she was sleeping and all this stuff. But she filmed herself like all the time. Yeah. Like even like sleeping, and it was like, it was creepy, but it was like really sad. Yeah. You know what I mean? She did have, like I said, social services were aware of her and did come over and check on her. So she did have people looking after her. But she wasn't dangerous or anything like that, I don't think. She never really seemed to leave her apartment, really. She seemed to be afraid to. So they kind of had people come in and like check on her every so often to make sure she was all right, which is nice. But... it's sad. It's like really sad and scary how
I wanted to get a fucking video of her to show her on the show. People probably would have been tripped out. She reminded me of this one.
Yeah, that's what Gramthars said. You should have brought her home and put her on the show.
No.
Yeah, let's not do that.
No, she was feral. She was feral. Okay. She was
because how pissed off would I have been? You come home at 4:30 and you're like rolling up and it's like, hey, I brought this schizophrenic crackhead home with me.
Yeah. She was one of these.
Please entertain her.
She was one of these.
Which, like I said, not judging. I'm just saying.
Because you're walking down the road making weird faces and talking in tongues. Why are you recording? You stalking me like I'm some rapper or something. You're a rapper? Yeah, are you seeing me?
She's a rapper.
Well, you was talking to yourself. You was talking to yourself. I was trying to make sure you didn't need help.
I need your lights off in the start. You haven't seen him save me. Y'all ain't save me from nothing. Bitch, save herself. Y'all ain't been shit. I'm gonna save this one for night. I don't even say that except they ain't gonna night.
Well, what's your name?
I don't know.
Do we need to call and get you
I don't know. Oh.
Are you stalking me, sir? Get the fuck away from me. You don't mean to kill me, bro. I'm not throwing nothing.
I'm not throwing nothing. And then she throws something.
Like I said,
she's one of those.
I mean, she's obviously that girl has something.
Crazy person.
Yeah. And like I said, I think a lot of times they can't help it.
Right.
So it's just kind of sad. But like I said, dealing with that all the time would really probably wear you out. It would wear me out. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing made any sense. That every question I asked her came back like that. Gibberish.
Well, I think they kind of have their own narrative going on in their head, right? Yeah. So it probably makes sense to them to some degree.
Yeah.
Maybe?
No.
I don't know.
I don't think it...
Or they're not really thinking about it.
They're not thinking about it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it probably makes sense to them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name is Freedom.
Murder Hornet asks, how's the UK? Hot as fuck here. And Manga said, we've had a warmish day. It wasn't today in Florida was actually not too bad. I think it was pretty mild, but it was super windy. Holy crap, it was windy. Yesterday, though, it rained all day, off and on. Like, it rained and then it stormed, and then it rained and was kind of cloudy. I like that, though. I don't like it when it's really sunny. Jeffy Hart said, I feel so sorry for her. Yeah, it's like, because, like I said, they can't help it. They're not being that way on purpose. And I don't know. So in a way, it's like, I feel kind of bad, like, kind of making fun of them, but because they can't really help being like that. But
well, the one that I showed you, I think that was meth. I think.
Maybe.
But
although she looked pretty healthy and clean, yeah. She didn't look like gross or fucking anything like that.
The one I was talking about was kind of like that, but it wasn't meth. It was schizophrenia. Although there might be both, because she was looking for meth and she was looking for cocaine, and she said she was a woman of the trade.
A woman of the trade.
Yeah, and I was like, huh? Really?
I mean, you just assumed that it meant that. Maybe she meant something else.
I don't know
maybe
what
she
it meant.
Something else.
I assumed that she's talking about she was for sale, but she never made any.
Maybe she's a welder.
Yeah, I don't know what she's talking about.
She's a welder by day and a dancer by night.
And I was like,
she's a maniac. You know what I mean?
Woman of the trade that probably hasn't showered in 3 or 4 days. No thanks.
Oh.
But you know.
Well, what'd she look like otherwise? How old was she?
25. I think 25, 26.
Okay, so she was
on the level of that one that I just showed you.
Oh, okay.
She didn't look bad. She just was not
all there.
And she's not all there. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yikes. Somebody said the UK had snow last week. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In Florida, if we have cold days at all, there'll be a couple cold days in January, February. But after that, and sometimes you get some cold nights in March. But once April comes along, nope. Pretty much up in the 70s. You're not getting cold shit anymore. Makes me so sad. But then I was thinking, well, I don't know. I just gotta wait out fucking summer. Soon it'll be fall again. I just gotta go into like hibernation mode, I guess. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
You seem kind of like.
It's not totally wake up yet.
You seem kind of like out of it.
Not totally awake yet.
I can't believe you fell asleep.
Yeah, fell asleep. Fell asleep when I was drinking.
What time did you get up this morning? It was kind of late, I thought.
About 10.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of late.
10.
I woke up at 6, for Christ's sake. Like, I woke up, and then I was like, well... I always wake up between 6 and 7, because I always have to go to the bathroom. And then I was just kind of like, should I get up, or should I just lay here? But then I lay here, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of comfortable, but I'm like, no, I'm not really that comfortable, because I have to pee. So it's like, I always have to get up, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm getting up. It's like, sun comes up. I can't sleep once the sun comes up. Sucks. I probably need some more drink, I would imagine.
See if the ice makers make ice still. I had to fill all that shit up.
I deliberately only put like 2 small scoops in there.
Okay.
So I could let it, whenever we started the show 35 minutes ago. Although I made the drink like more than that, like 45 minutes ago, something like that. Let's see. What is everybody saying? Yeah, that's the thing. You always kind of like encounter, and I kind of feel like maybe it happens. It probably happens a lot around here because this is kind of out in the rural. Probably the same kind of shit that happens in Daytona. This is why I never wanted to go anywhere in Daytona. I never wanted to hang out at any biker bars or stuff like that. Or, like I said, I was kind of like forced to ride the bus, and you'd always get like some weirdo like sitting next to you, like that smelled like pee and was talking about fucking, I don't know what. And it's just, I don't know, it was so depressing. But I'm glad I don't have to do it. That's why finally I saved up and bought a car, because I was like, fuck this, I can't do this shit anymore. But I did take the bus for a really, really long time. I didn't actually buy a car until I was 25, 26, something like that. So prior to that, I had to take a bus or walk everywhere. So, because the bus is terrible. The bus is terrible. And I'm sure it's worse in other places. I didn't mind, like, big cities that, that a lot of different people take public transportation, like New York and Washington, D.C. It's like, yeah, there's crazy people on there, but there's enough normal people on there that it kind of, like, balances out. So it's, like, less likely, because there's, like, a bunch of normal people on there, too. So it's not like, I feel like the ones in Daytona, so few quote-unquote normal people take them that the likelihood is quite high that when you're taking the bus in Volusia County or something, that some fucking weirdo is going to end up, like, sitting by you. You know what I mean? Like, some weird... We had, like, a lot of drunks, too, because there would be, dudes that had gotten DUIs and got their license taken away. And so they had to take buses out to... Oh, and also, one of the routes that I used to have to take to work was the same route that went out to the prison. So you would get however often, like once a week or once a month or whatever it was, you would get like all the family members going out to visit the people at the prison. So you got that too. But, there was always that. Zach says, okay, this Panera is hitting the spot, and I'm already feeling good after all the crap I've been eating lately. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of a big fan of Panera. I used to eat there all the time. There used to be one by my house in Daytona, and I used to eat there all the time. Do they still have that, what do they call it? The Frontega chicken or whatever? Do they still have that sandwich? Because I think that was their best one. They had that one, and they used to have, this was a long time ago, they used to have one that was a portobello mushroom panini. And I liked that one a lot too, but I don't know if they have that anymore. And their tomato soup is really, really good. DJ Maniac, my mom always said there's always one weirdo on the bus. I never found him. Yeah, you know what that means. You know what that means. I hate to ride next to traffic.
Put some more ice in it.
I mean, I don't know. A lot of times, like I said, I kind of wish there was better public transit, because one of the coolest things about, like I said, visiting big cities in the U.S. or being in the U.K. was that when I was in Wales, like, I could get up in the morning, walk a mile down the street, and get on a train and go anywhere the fuck I wanted to in Europe. And I just thought that was so fucking cool. Like, it was so easy. Like, I don't really... It's nice having your own car, but I don't really enjoy driving. You know what I mean? And especially in... around this area, like the Orlando area specifically, I-4, it's better than it was because they've widened it and they actually improved it and stuff, but it still kind of blows. It's like everybody that drives on there is a crazy person, and they seem to be in a competition to see how fast and recklessly they can drive and how many people they can kill.
They're South American.
I kind of feel like maybe they kind of feel like they're in like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
In real life. So every time we have to get on I-4, I'm just kind of like, he always drives. I'm like, I'm not driving. Fuck that. And so like, but then I'm just kind of like looking down at my lap going, I'm just like not even going to look at all the fucking cars because every time we go out to the club, there's always at least 2 or 3 people drag racing on I-4.
It's ridiculous.
And I'm just kind of like, do you realize everybody's going 80, 90, 100 miles an hour? I was like, do you realize what would happen if one of it just please stop it? I don't understand like why we're doing that.
And they're not great drivers. They think they are, but they're not.
Even if you are, why? Just there's no reason. Knock it off.
They'll come up behind you going about 110, 115 and pass you like I'm already going 80. And then they'll run right into the back of a traffic jam that you could see a mile away. But then they try to fight to get around a damn traffic jam.
And I'm like, where exactly do you think you're going? Yeah. We're all stuck here too.
Yeah.
You're not magic. You can't fucking float. So...
Crack's a hell of a drug.
I guess.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
Or...
Like, why the fuck? There's no thinking ahead.
And like I said, I don't really understand... Like, I understand assertive driving, but I don't understand aggressive driving in the sense that you're taking stupid chances when there's no reason to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, look, we're all going downtown. We're all going to the same place. We'll all get there in, whatever the time period is. Just calm down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to, like, kill a whole bunch of people on the way there. Calm down. I don't understand.
Okay, so the show's been on. It's Friday. We got Pookie stretched out over there.
Is she stretched?
Yeah. Look at her.
I turned around and she's like...
It's the Tom's Apocalypse edition.
I couldn't think of anything, but then I thought of your, like, April Tom's Day, and I was like, I'm going to start making puns. I'm going to start making puns with Tom's name.
Look at her. Look at her.
And that was the first thing I thought of.
Look at her hands. She's stretched and loafed. She's a stretch loaf. Yeah, stretch loaf. Why are you stretch loafing?
She's like, because I'm comfortable. Yeah, why are you looking at me funny?
Okay. Is everything all right? Everything okay? All right.
Thank you, Jeffy Art.
What'd he say?
Jenny, good call on Extraordinary. Wasn't that delightful? I loved that movie so much.
I didn't see that one.
Last night, I bought it on Amazon for $5 and loved it. Can't believe it's not that well known. What a gem. Yeah, everybody, I reviewed a movie called Extraordinary. It's an Irish horror comedy, and it is... delightful.
Didn't see that one either. Got another super chat.
It's on Shudder, actually. I watched it and I reviewed it.
That's right.
Speaking of GTA, a show on that lawyer from Florida, Jack Thompson, who made it his raison d'etre to get the games banned would be amazing. Oh, that is a good idea.
Somebody tried to get
Grand Theft
Auto banned?
Yeah. I remember, I remember that.
They didn't understand.
That's the thing. It's like...
They're just games.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of this kind of like, oh, games make people do that shit. It's like, people are going to do bad shit. Are people that already have a propensity to do that kind of shit attracted to those kind of games? Probably. But I don't think the game caused them to be like that. Like, if they were just like a normal, nice person beforehand and then they played GTA and they'd be like, I'm going to kill everybody. I'm going to drive all over this fucking... I don't think it happens like that.
Most of the dudes that play video games don't have the physical strength to do most of the shit that they're showing in those games anyway. Climb up the side of buildings.
Honestly, they say the same thing about horror movies and shit like that. And it's like, look, I've been watching horror movies since I was fucking 7 years old. I've never killed anybody that I know of. And it's just kind of like... Honestly, you watch it, it's like escapism.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you get like a lot of the same, rage and shit like that, if you want to call it that. You can get it out watching horror movies or playing video games or doing something like that, and you don't do it in real life. I think it's like better to have that.
Grand Theft Auto, you're the main character, look like you weigh about a fucking 150 pounds, and you just run up and just beat anybody's ass easily. It doesn't really work. It doesn't work that way. If you weigh 150 pounds and you run up on a dude who's fucking somewhere between 150 and 170 pounds, you're going to be fighting that dude all day. And you're going to get hurt during that. It's not going to be easy. You can't just run up and beat somebody's ass like on a video game. Not a real person.
Tyler says you guys should probably do a show on road rage incidents.
Yeah.
That would actually probably be a good show. Like, give me...
Probably.
Do I have a piece of paper over there and a pen? There's a little piece of paper by my phone. And I meant to put it over here. No, I got a pen. I just need a... I got a pen. I need paper. There's like a piece of paper by the phone.
Here.
Yeah, there we go. That was like some notes I was writing down for a graphic design job. I was talking to somebody on the phone earlier and writing everything down really quick. All right, so road rage... Whoops. Oh, and of course this pen doesn't work. Okay, there it goes. Okay, road rage. Okay, so I'll put that in the next poll. Because the poll for next week's show has already gone up. But I'll put that in the next poll. Because that is actually a good idea. Camp Guy says, the older I get, the slower I drive. Yeah, I mean, I don't drive slow, I'll admit. I do speed. But I don't take dumbass chances, and I don't, like... Honestly, I'm going to go the route that has the least amount of cars on it. So, because I don't want to be around people. I don't want to be around other cars. Because, you know, the chance just goes up.
Yeah.
That bad shit's going to happen. Let me see. Yeah, Mango's also saying it's an awesome movie. It was so good. I can't believe it. More people should, like, see it. I'm glad that Shudder finally added it. I heard about it. It came out in 2019. I heard about it about a year ago because it kept turning up on like a lot of critics, like horror critics, like best movies of the year lists. And I was like, man, I got to see that. And I wrote it down on my list, but I was like, man, this is like a bitch to get hold of. But then like Shudder finally added it. I was like, woohoo, I've been wanting to see this for like a fucking year and a half. And I finally watched it, and it is so good. It's so funny. Like, if you like Shaun of the Dead, then you will totally be into this. You will totally be into it. It's so lovable and delightful and funny. I loved it. And I kind of feel like everybody, I didn't really see any negative reviews of it. Like, pretty much everybody thought it was hysterical. It's hysterical. Brad says, I'm a schizophrenic, pyromaniac, alcoholic ninja. It's true. Mango says, we've had some classic road rage killings in the UK. Yeah, I remember writing about a couple of those. I can't remember what the case was, but I remember writing about one of those for my book. But yeah. I feel like we probably have more of them in the US. I mean, I'm sure we do. But this is fucked up. But because we have so much fucked up stuff happen and the country's so big that you probably don't even hear about them most of the time.
Yeah.
So you probably don't even... I mean, in Florida, we'd probably only hear about the ones that happened in, like, central Florida. We wouldn't hear about ones that happened in other states unless they were really fucked up and egregious. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of stuff just goes kind of like... It never appears on the radar because it's just humdrum. Like when the dude ate the other dude's face in the middle of the road. We heard about that. The zombie. That was during the fucking beginning of the zombie.
Yeah, because that's... Yeah.
Right.
Because obviously...
That was never really... They never really fucking answered the questions behind that one. I think that one is what they would call bath salts, which is there was one. The Chinese were smuggling drugs into the United States under other names. Like one of them that they would smuggle drugs in was like potpourri. All right, when you got it, it was just looked like potpourri, and they would sell it at dime stores, 2-bit dime stores. A drug user knew what it was, though. You could take that potpourri and smoke it, and they had laced it with some kind of chemical.
Smoking
fucking
potpourri.
Make you high as shit. And they had another one that was like sold as bath salts, but it had some kind of chemical in it. If you smoked that, it made you fucking super high. So it was just kind of a crooked way of getting it into the country under another name. And you had to know. I guess the vendor had to know what it was. He said, look, smoke that. He goes, that's bath salts. He goes, yeah, that's bath salts. Smoke it. You know what I mean? They smoke that to get high.
Trust me.
And it was always some kind of real cheap designer drug out of China that was, you could probably isolate the molecule, but you still wouldn't really like know what it was. It'd be something along the lines of like synthetic, some kind of like synthetic fucking crack, or like a synthetic what's that other shit that they would fucking send it in here? Kind of like methamphetamine, but a cheaper synthetic version of it. And I think that's what the zombie killer was. Although he didn't kill that guy. They just found 2 dudes out in front of the damn hospital, in between concrete barriers, naked. They're on the security camera, naked, laying next to each other, fighting, and one of them eats the other dude's face off. It's a white dude and a black dude. Salt and pepper team. Salt and pepper team. The sex got fucking violent.
They could have used some salt and pepper when he ate his face. Hey-o.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
And they were 2 bums, you know. They both lived, but they caught parts of it on video.
Bum style.
Bum. It was bum on bum violence. Sexual bum violence. Weird shit.
I mean,
and then
this, like, Florida man is a meme for a reason.
Yeah.
You know.
So that was all over the news for a while, you know, and then it just kind of calmed down.
How could it not be?
And the state government said, well, his drug tests came back negative. You know.
Yeah, see, that's the last I heard.
Yeah.
Did he just, like, want to eat someone's face just for the fuck of it, or what?
Well, now what it was is that whatever drug it was that
it didn't show up.
It doesn't show up on those tests because that molecule was made to elude all the drug tests, to get around the drug tests, so it's not the same as selling drugs. It's not an identifiable drug that's been banned. So, you know, the Chinese know what they're doing. But it was something that they smoked that make you go crazy.
Makes you want to eat someone's face off.
Yeah, it's something
That's
like
some good
Flocka.
shit.
It was something like Flocka. Which Flocka might have been Flocka. I'm not sure exactly what Flocka looks like. Flocka might come in a bunch of
I'm not down with all the drug
Flocka. Yeah.
appearances these days.
Flocka will make you repeat yourself.
There's actually on YouTube, because you watch these sometimes, aren't there like a lot of videos of like people on Flocka?
Yeah, I'll show some Flocka videos.
Gramthars said, "Oh, they identified another serial killer this week from genealogy DNA." See, I thought they'd be doing a lot. The Days Inn killer who killed several women in Indiana in the 1980s. Dude died 10 years ago. See, I had kind of hoped that all of that would happen, that they would like catch. I kind of remember hearing about that case actually. Yeah. All right. Hey, Tila. Happy Friday, y'all. DJ Maniac says, I watched the Savile, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Doc on Netflix last night. He was one of the topics that was in the Patreon poll as well. So I don't know if we're doing a show about him next week, but he's like, ugh, I need 2 showers after that. I know a little bit about the case, but not a great deal. But I did put it in the poll, so we'll see if it wins. We might do a show about that.
Here's a good Flocka video.
What?
He's having a good time.
Where's your shoe? Where's your shoe, dude? What? Where's your shoe? What happened?
What the fuck you talking about, motherfucker?
Hey, dude, guess what? Dude, seriously.
He's doing like a Charlie Chaplin bit.
What?
What'd you do last night, man?
What?
What'd you do last night? What'd you do? Hey, this isn't good for my business. This is bad for business.
Is it?
He's looking for you, Tila. He's calling you, Tila.
Hee-haw-hoo? Sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the property.
Yeah, let's see how well that works out.
Is that too much to ask?
That's Flocka.
Have you ever been on YouTube? You left your money back there. Go back there and get your money. Please make this easy on you. You're just gonna crawl in the fucking back seat. I got a back. I got a German Shepherd back there. Oh, dude, he's picking up the pace.
He's got somewhere to be, clearly.
Yeah.
He doesn't like please.
The truck driver's like, what the fuck?
Hey! I think you need to do it, dude.
Help.
I got it on video for you. He's a fucking psycho. He's gonna get... Oh, shit. He's down on the ground.
That's Flocka. There's a couple other Flocka ones. I'll show you another one.
Drugs are bad, okay?
That's fine. Drugs are bad, okay?
They're not all bad. Just,
yeah,
you know,
just that one.
Just that one. I mean,
cheap
don't take that. John Smith says the most famous road rage killer in the UK, I think, was Kenneth Noye. Noye, I guess is how you pronounce that. He had previously been acquitted of killing a police officer via self-defense claim. Well, that's something. I can't believe he actually got away with that. And killed a young guy in a road rage incident. Shit, I'm going to have to look that up. Okay, I'm going to look that case. I'm writing shit down. I wrote down, Zach, I wrote down video game controversies, so don't worry. That'll be in the next poll. So we're going to talk about Kenneth Noye. I like when you guys give me ideas for stuff, because like I said, I run out of ideas to like put in the poll sometimes. You know what I mean? Tammy says, have you seen Boondock Saints 1 or 2? I saw the first one. I actually really liked the first one a lot, but I haven't seen the second one. Zach says, random as fuck, but cream soda, yes or no? Me, no.
Yeah.
Him, yes.
Yeah.
He loves cream soda. I don't hate it, but if given the choice, meh. It's not really my thing. I love root beer, though. Root beer is good. I'm not a big soda person, you know?
I like soda.
I know. I like money. You like money?
Yeah.
I like soda.
Yeah.
But yes, you just kind of said it like that.
That is true.
Well, we go to Dollar General once a month or once every few weeks or something like that to stock up on snacks.
Once a week, yeah.
And I get like breakfasty type stuff. Like I'll get some granola bars or like peanut butter crackers, something like that I can just like eat like for a small breakfast or whatever. And, you know, coffee shit, like, you know, creamer and stuff. And he'll go and get cookies and lots and lots and lots of soda. Lots of soda.
Yeah.
I don't like soda.
I like soda.
The only quote-unquote junk food drinks I like those like Starbucks coffee drinks like in the bottle. Actually, I like any kind of like iced coffee kind of drinks in a bottle. The Dunkin' Donuts ones are good. Ooh, Dunkin' Donuts have a bottled coffee drink that, well, they had a couple that were like based on Girl Scout cookies. They had a thin mint one, and I was like super jazzed about that. But then I got it, and it wasn't quite as good. I don't know. I kind of feel like the same thing happened with Starbucks. Like, they had a mint chocolate one, too, and I was like, oh, my God, that's the best thing, because I love mint chocolate. But it wasn't... I thought it would be better. You know what I mean? And I was just kind of like, man, it was just kind of blah. But the Dunkin' Donuts one that's based on Samoas with, like, a kind of a coconut flavor to it is the bomb. Those are really, really, really good. But, so those are good. They actually have... What did I say? International Delight, who makes the creamers.
Yeah.
They have canned coffee drinks. They have one that's caramel macchiato, which is okay. That's not really my favorite flavor. And they have one that's cookies and cream like Oreo, which I thought would be gross, but is actually delicious. So those are really good. The Starbucks ones, I like the plain coffee flavor. The mocha is good, although I can only drink like half the bottle, the big bottle at a time, because it's kind of rich. I'm not a fan of the caramel one, and I'm not a fan of the vanilla one. Sometimes they have a salted caramel one that's actually pretty good. Some of the other flavors are weird, and I'm not into it, but they try to like put different ones out. But I don't like the vanilla. But, you know, I got a couple mocha ones, but I drank half of it earlier, and I was just kind of like, meh. But I don't like cream soda. I don't like sodas. If I have to drink soda, I don't mind Sprite or 7-Up. Root beer is good. Ginger ale is good. I like Dr. Pepper or Mr. Pibb. I don't like Coke. I don't like Pepsi. I don't mind like orange soda. Like if you have like Fanta or something like that, that's pretty good. But I can't really drink a lot of it. And it has to be really, really cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is my second favorite Flocka video. Okay. Y'all gonna like this one. This dude is fucking smoking, doing flocka. I guess he's smoking flocka. And he's in his sister's shirt, and he's fucking high as shit, and he's dancing.
It'll make you very unproductive. We back.
That's him.
Is he dancing? What are you doing? Trying to go to work and stuff? Can't get it together, see? I told you. See what it do to you?
We're gonna get demonetized.
Yeah, bro.
Because of the music. But
they added the music to that.
Well, yeah, obviously. But I'm just saying that if you play that, it's gonna get demonetized. Funnily enough, whenever we go to the bar and I get like really drunk and I go out to dance, that's what I feel like I look like. Yeah. Hopefully I don't, but that's kind of what I feel like when I go out to dance to that first song, and I'm kind of like fucking drunk. Are these Flocka peeps in Florida? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, Flocka's big in Florida in certain neighborhoods.
Are those ones in Florida? I don't really know.
Pretty much all of them. Probably. Pretty much all of them are in Florida.
And I'm not saying, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but the reason that the Florida man thing is a meme is because, not just because we have all the crazy people down here, although that might be like a little bit of it, but it's because Florida has something called the Sunshine Law, where if you get arrested for whatever, then it immediately becomes public knowledge. So if anybody is writing like on the crime beat or whatever,
go ahead, talk.
If anybody's on the crime beat or whatever, they can access all of the details of your crime and your photo and all that kind of stuff.
It's basically they publicly humiliate your ass. Well, so everything comes out of Florida, they know you know.
Yeah, because some states have a thing where it's like, well, if you get until you get convicted of the shit, they can't really do anything. But Florida, if you get arrested for something, then it's public knowledge and everybody knows about it. So everybody knows that. So everybody like searches Florida for crazy news stories.
Yeah. What's great about this video to me is that he's wearing a girl's shirt. Or a girl's dress as a shirt.
Although if you hadn't said that, I don't really think I would have noticed.
Yeah, but he is. He's wearing some girl's shirt, and he's going to smoke some more Flocka.
Because it doesn't really, when you look at him like that, it just looks like a regular t-shirt. So
yeah, he's like trying to pass it off as a regular shirt.
It does look like a regular shirt.
It's not. See how it's real long and it's got tapered waist and everything? It's a girl's shirt.
Like I said, that wouldn't have occurred to me if you hadn't said that.
Yeah. Aww. And then the dude's talking to him, and he's just... and here's the deal, he is
are
not...
his friends filming this? Because that's kind of like, that's a douchey move.
Well, they're in the hood. And
when you're doing all kind of like embarrassing shit, and they're like, man, we're going to like post this up like, publicly for everyone in the world to like gawk at.
Well, they posted music along with it, like he's dancing. But the thing is he is not dancing. He is trying to stand still.
Well, yeah, that's obviously
he's
what
trying
they
to
thought
stand
was so funny.
still. Yeah.
But can you imagine, like I said... Because you've seen those YouTube videos and, like, pictures and stuff like that of, spring break or St. Patrick's Day or whatever, when, like, some college girls went out and got, like, way more fucked up than usual, and then, like, they fell over in a gutter and, like, shit themselves or something like that. And then, like, all of their friends, because your real friends wouldn't do that, but then they're like, oh, hilarious, and then they film it, and then they put it on YouTube, and then, like, you sober up the next day, and now everybody knows you as, like, hey, the chick that fell in the gutter and, like, shit herself. Yeah. So, you're never going to live that down. Sorry. Thank you again, Zach. Speaking of Michael Jackson, a show on Gary, Indiana would be hilarious because it's known only for him being from there and the hellscape it's become. Yeah, that actually might be an interesting show. I'm going to write that down too. We're writing down all kind of ideas. We got ideas. It's collaborative.
Tyler, the guy says he needs some milk. He needs some milk. That's fucking funny. Jenny probably doesn't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I do because you told me.
He needs some milk. Yeah. That shit is fucking funny. Let's see if I can...
They're talking about...
You need some milk.
I still haven't watched Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. I really, really need to get into that. I'm so behind. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Go ahead,
if you're just gonna show videos the whole time.
Yeah, go ahead.
mojo. Baller, that's that mojo. That mojo. Shit, he fuck around and grab me. Look at him, he dead. They going to get him something to drink. Shit, I ain't going over there. I bet that fucking mojo. They better leave that shit alone. You make them do it like that? Hell yeah, you get a bad batch. That mojo ain't no good. Then they making it themselves now. They putting off milk.
They're making it themselves now.
He needs some milk.
He needs some milk.
Shit, I ain't going over there, Grandma.
He needs some milk.
Feeky got bored.
What's that?
Feeky got bored and took off?
Oh, did she? Yeah.
I guess. What's that thing? Is that supposed to be plugged in or what?
Yeah, it's alright.
Alright. Alright. Tom with the videos, yeah.
Yeah.
Jenny, please watch Breaking Bad. I will, I promise. I feel really bad that I've left it this long. There's so many shows that I need to watch. I feel like I'm so behind on the cultural fucking zeitgeist, man. That was years and years ago. Yeah, Breaking Bad is one of the, and Sopranos. I still haven't seen The Sopranos either. Like I said, I know what happens in the shit. I have a vague, just from osmosis, cultural osmosis. I kind of know what happens in them, but I haven't, watched them. So Yellow Jackets. A lot of people have been talking about this. Is it good? Should I watch it? We'll see. Isn't Stranger Things Season 4 coming out soon? I kind of feel like. Didn't the trailer just come out? Those kids look like they're, almost adults at this point.
I wanted to know if only black people are taking Flocka. Where are the white people taking Flocka? No, white people take Flocka too. They're there. It's just they don't have famous videos yet.
Or maybe they don't have friends assholey enough to film them and put it on YouTube.
No, you missed it. You missed it because I ran into a girl today at the biker bar who she had all kinds of problems. She was paranoid, schizophrenic, and on something. Or off and on something. She was asking about coke and asking about meth, but she was like that. And I was just babysitting her, and then she vanished. But I got her a couple of beers, but they didn't charge them. They didn't charge me for them. They're like, I don't worry about it.
So what they do? The bars eat the cost, or what?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, they didn't charge me for them. They were tap beers.
Oh, okay.
And I just...
Because they probably figured they're not going to waste the good shit.
I was just trying to keep her calm, you know. She asked for some drinks.
Well, like I said, you don't know what...
Okay.
You don't know what kind of people, I mean, other than you. You're fairly normal. Mm-hmm. But, what other kind of people are turning up at a biker bar in the middle of the afternoon?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So. Some people may have some problems.
She had some kind of problems.
Sexual problems?
Yeah, sexual problems, too.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, she said she was a woman of the trade in one of her little rants. And I was thinking, hooker? But it never got to that. She never came back to that. It might have just been a delusion in her mind at the time. She definitely... And then the bartender was like, yeah, my daughter's got paranoid schizophrenia. She's off her medication. That's what the... So the bartender didn't charge me for giving her some drinks.
I kind of wonder sometimes.
Yeah.
What... where do they live? Are they getting help? I mean, I hope they are.
She didn't answer any question I asked her other than what her name was. If I'd
I mean, did she have a place to live? And I mean, if she had medication to be off of, then obviously someone's paying for her medication, so that's good. But
every time I asked her a question, she answered with something that was irrelevant to what I said. The only direct questioning she answered was, "What's your name?" She said, "Rebecca." That was it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and she said she hung out here all the time. And that she knew everybody here.
But nobody
knew her. Nobody knew her. Nobody ever seen her.
We've run into some people like that before.
Yeah. Right.
We used to run into people like that at iBar.
Yeah. I'm here all the time.
I'm here all the time. And like, we're
we
here all the
you.
time, but we've never seen you before. So, and like, we know all the bartenders, and they're like, yeah, we've never seen that person before. Right. I don't know who that is. By the way, iBar, I found out where they were moving to.
Where?
John Young Parkway.
I don't know where that is. Which,
it's farther. It's a little bit farther. It's on the other side of downtown.
That's a wrap. If you ask me, that's a wrap.
I mean, I haven't seen the new location. I don't know. But I just saw that John posted that they were moving to a place on John Young Parkway. So I will look at it on Google Maps, and we will see.
That club's gone.
But that makes me really sad.
Yeah.
I grew up in that fucking place.
Location, and they lost that location. Yeah. It's just the end of that era.
That blows.
Yep.
I mean, they were there for 30-something years, but still.
All the power and prestige will go to mannequins.
Stardog78 says, there's a character in Yellow Jackets named Natalie that I can picture Jenny being like in the 90s. Oh, now I really have to watch it. And we'll see. We'll see if you're correct. That's what I was like in the 90s. Can't believe I was talking about Need Milk. No, that's not what he's talking about. That was Got Milk. The commercial thing. Need Milk was some other like meme thing.
Well, one of those drugs, I don't know if it's Flocka, but that black girl was talking about it. She said that they are making it now, and she called it something else. And he really starts freaking out, but I didn't get to the end of it. She goes, give him some milk. He needs some milk. Give him some milk. And it sounded ridiculous, but then I did some more research, and no, she's right. If you take milk, there's some kind of chemical in that milk. The lactose, I think it's that fucking lactic acid or something, breaks down the chemicals, and it kind of like acts like an antidote to that drug. But what made that Give Him Some Milk famous in the meme world is there's a video that was spliced together of this white kid fucking putting his head down over a fucking fish tank at a big aquarium, and there's some sharks in the damn water, and he's having a staring match with the sharks underneath the water, and the shark fucking, its tail fucking flies up and hits him in the head, and it's like it knocks him out, and he falls in the water, and then you hear the fucking crowd, people in the crowd scream, and you hear that same black girl go, give him some milk! But they lifted that voice out for that one video that I just showed you and put it into that one. So it sounds...
Even though that makes absolutely no sense at all.
Well, when you see him fucking floating all fucking...
Well, yeah, I get it.
Oh, fucking hard in the water.
It's just I feel like there's too many steps.
Give us some milk.
For really good comedy to work, it has to be like pretty much like you get the. If you have to go like a few steps to get the connection, then it's not funny. So it's like I get it, but it's too much of a reach.
Right.
That's too much of a reach.
But what they cut out of that video is that he fucking immediately comes to life and jumps out of the pool. That the whole thing was a setup.
God damn it! He didn't get eaten by sharks. That would have been way funnier.
He pretended that the shark.
See, now if he'd got eaten by sharks, that would be funny.
He evidently worked at the aquarium and knew those sharks, and had done that with the sharks several times. Just part of their instincts. If you're over them in the water, they'll splash their tail at you to try to get you away. He pretended that it knocked him out. That was pretty good. And then somebody else lifted in, give him some milk. Like milk will bring him back to life. It's just fucking funny, you know?
See, I love this, like, I've worked here a long time. I know these sharks. They won't bite my head off.
Right.
Until they do. Sharks don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
You're just like a big walking, like, meat stick.
I might be able to find it.
Mike Barrett says, how often does Tom visit the bar? LOL.
A couple times a week.
Probably a couple times a week, yeah.
Yeah.
He goes on Fridays and usually Sundays. Like, he kind of goes, like, for the afternoon. Part of meme culture is that they often don't make sense. I get that. But that's the thing, though. A lot of them do make sense. That's why they're funny. You know what I mean? Even an old fart like me, like, I'll see some of the memes and I'm like, oh, I get that. That's funny. But it's like that one, I get it, but it's not... that particular one isn't that funny because there's too many steps you have to go through to like fucking. It's too much of a reach. That's what I'm saying. Comedy should be, it's pithy. You know, get to it. They used to have a guy that had alligator wrestling at reptile museums down there. I think they still have that. I don't know how much of like alligator wrestling they still do because that seems a little questionable nowadays to be wrestling alligators. I just went to, when I was in St. Augustine back in June, they don't wrestle alligators there, obviously, because it's more of a... Okay.
I got it. Hold on. Oh, they didn't have... That was the original. That wasn't the one where they give him some milk. All right, let me see. The give him some milk one is even fucking more funny. I don't know, it's not there anymore. But you get the idea. He goes down and that fucking, you hear that chick go, give him some milk. And the timing was perfect. It sounded like she was in the crowd, the way they had it engineered, had it fucking spliced in. It was funny.
John Smith says, at aquariums, I've always felt sorry for the other fish in the tank with them. The sharks swimming up and down with your next grin. I kind of wonder about that too, because you go to larger aquariums, and I know sharks, you know, get hungry and don't just eat everything that's in front of them, obviously. But I do kind of feel like, well, they have all these fish in the aquariums, and some of them are probably pretty rare and shit like that. And you never know, like, when nobody's watching, it's like the middle of the night, little shark might be driving around, like swimming around, and he'd be like, that'd be funny if a shark was driving around. And it was like swimming around, and he's just kind of like, I would like a midnight snack. I'm going to eat that nice rare lionfish over there. He's a little peckish, and he's going to get him. And the next morning, they're like, where's that lionfish? Shark's like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like that might happen. I know they feed them a lot, so that doesn't happen. But they're wild animals. I just can't really see that not happening. But yeah, so what I was going to say was that I was at, when I was in St. Augustine, I went to the alligator farm. And they don't do the alligator wrestling thing because that's dumb. And it's like, I don't really know why you would do that. But they're more of a, they're trying to like preserve alligators. So they try to like, hatch their eggs and all that kind of stuff. So, but they do feeding shows like every day. And I videotaped it. I don't remember if I showed you guys on the show, but they have a thing like the guy that comes out and gives them they have pellets. They feed them like chickens and weasels and stuff like that. They bring them out in a wheelbarrow and like throw them in there. But when I went there last June, I didn't realize how many alligators they had at the alligator farm until they did that show. And the guy, he has this little like platform that comes out into they have like a humongous like lagoon that they all live in. And he has this little like platform that he comes out on that's wood. And even before he got out there, because all the tourists started gathering around the path like outside of the lagoon, so the alligators knew what was up. They knew what time it was. They're not dumb. So they're like, ooh, feeding time. So all of them like start, and they all start like swimming around there, and there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And even before the guy, like when he first started walking up the thing, they were like climbing like up on the fucking wooden deck and shit like that. And there was like some of them were trying to like jump on top of the other ones. They were like, food's coming. And it was just like, oh my God, it was crazy. And then like he starts throwing the shit in the water, and they're like jumping out of the fucking water. And I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ. I am never going fucking in the water in Florida. It was like super, super scary. Like none of the alligators there, like some of the alligators there are pretty big. A lot of them are smaller, but a lot of them are like, some of them are like pretty fucking big too. So it was like terrifying. She does a stank face at me all the time. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Well, deservedly so.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. Don't worry about it.
Deservedly so.
I don't worry about it.
Well, it's just because...
I don't worry about it.
It's because you don't really listen to anything I'm saying. So it's like, I'll be talking, and he'll be like, oh, hey, look at this thing. And it's just like, he doesn't care. You know what I mean? He doesn't care.
Stop it.
Here, look at this video I found on YouTube that other people can easily look for themselves.
Okay.
Why, like, don't show it on there.
No, I'm thinking about something else right now.
Tammy says, no female blames Jenny for giving Tom that face. I know they don't. I know they don't.
Fuck y'all bitches. Man, okay.
What?
I've been drinking all day.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Baby's like, I've only had, this is only my second one. So you're like way ahead of me. And you're being like all cranky already.
I'm not being cranky.
You were kind of like, not cranky necessarily, but you were just kind of like,
I'm sleepy.
So he goes to the bar and drinks all day, and then he comes back home and falls asleep, and then he gets mad when he has to like be on the show.
I'm not mad.
Okay.
I'm not mad.
Hey, I've been working all day, bitch.
I'm not mad.
I've been working since 7 in the morning.
You see how you guys got it going? I'm not mad.
Don't be that way.
I'm not. See? I'm not mad.
Camp Guy says, look up Joe Ball from the 1920s. He used to charge folks to see him feed live animals to his alligators. He also supposedly disposed of some bodies he killed as well. Oh, okay. I'm going to look that up. I don't know. I don't think I would like... I mean, alligators got to eat. I get that. They got just as much right to be here as anybody else. They're scary, but like I said, they've been here forever, and that's kind of like, can you believe that?
The wind's crazy.
That's like not even bad. I don't even know if they heard that, but it's just like today, seriously, I was just kind of like, what the fuck is going on out there? I don't know if it's just because I'm like, my window is facing like a weird direction, and like there's nothing like blocking it.
60-mile-an-hour wind coming around that corner.
Yeah, it sounded like goddamn tornado like all day today. And like it sounded like something was like knocking into the window, and I was like, there's nothing there that could possibly be knocking into the window. There's nothing. It's the driveway. There's no trees, there's no nothing. So I don't really know what that fucking noise was. It was like really, really loud.
Now they're talking about creating a stank face emoji and shit.
I know. Maybe I should do like an emoji of my face going.
Yeah, it's stank face.
Or something.
Yeah. It's all that estrogen. It's all these women in there.
Is that what it is?
Women in their stank faces.
Well, like I said, we have reason for doing that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, we do. It's very dude-like to just be like, well, y'all are just crazy. You don't have any reason for. No, it's not like you guys are. Logical. It's not like you guys are doing something like logical. Dickish.
It's not logical.
And we're just like reacting to that. It couldn't be.
I was talking about the Florida zombies and fucking Flocka and how crazy these motherfuckers are, and I was providing video evidence.
Yeah, right in the middle of me telling a story about something else. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't realize.
What's more dangerous, a gator or a croc? Crocodiles are... well, crocodiles...
They're all about the same.
Crocodiles, generally, are a lot more aggressive. But...
Alligator can be dangerous, too.
Alligators are dangerous, too. And honestly, in Florida, alligators, they're not aggressive necessarily, but... because we have so many alligators in Florida, I feel like a lot of people do stupid shit like feed them, and so they get used to being around people. They're not really afraid of people. And that's really not good either. Like I said, we've had a lot of cases where, well, there was that famous one at one of the Disney resorts where the alligator came out and ate a kid. Yeah. Essentially. And they eat pets and shit like that all the time. So you really got to fucking watch. And honestly, if there's a body of water close enough to you, just assume that there's alligators in there.
I think crocodiles...
Probably there are.
I think crocodiles might be a little bit more aggressive because where there are crocodiles, there tends to be more of them in one spot and a lot more food. So I think they compete against each other a lot. And they fight a lot harder for food that they see. Alligators are kind of spread out. They're not all competing against one another. So I think they're kind of chilled out. And I don't know about lifespans. It might be that alligators might live longer. I don't know, but they just seem slightly kind of toned back in their behavior. It's like they kind of feel like they have enough time for everything. But they will come out of the water and get you.
The crazy thing about alligators, and it's weird because they kind of go into this. If you go to the alligator farm in St. Augustine, there used to be an alligator farm in Miami too. I don't know if it's still there, but the one in St. Augustine is still there. I went there in June. Now, they are very much like, because a lot of times alligators, like a lot of reptiles, they don't have, they're not warm-blooded, obviously, so their body temperature is regulated by the outer temperature. So if they're cold or if it's kind of cool out, they have to like be still until it's like warm enough for them to like power up, essentially. So a lot of times when they're not eating or doing something like that, they're just kind of like sitting there. So sometimes, depending on what time of day it is, you go to the alligator farm and you kind of walk through the lagoon or whatever, and a lot of the alligators are just kind of like sitting there. And some of them are just like sitting with their mouths open, like just sitting like that. And they look like not real, like they look concrete. So a lot of times there's like signs saying, yes, they're real. Like, please do not climb into the fucking shit. It's like, yes, they look like they're made of concrete and stuff. But if you dangle some food in front of their face, you will see how fast they can fucking move. That's why I think they started doing the feeding shows, because I think they used to only do them once a week. Now they do them every day because they want to show people when they know that it's feeding time, alligators will absolutely move very, very quickly. And they can jump out of the water, and you would be really hosed if you were like right by the fucking shit. Because I kind of feel like some people are like, think it'd be funny. It's like, look, they're not even moving. They're just all sitting there, and they're going to like jump over the fence and stuff. And they're like, yeah, you're probably going to regret that decision. Because they can move really, really fast when they want to.
Yeah, really they can't really chew. They just kind of grab you, and they'll just, if you're fighting them, they'll roll. And if there's more alligators and they're fighting over the same animal, they'll start to roll, and you'll get all busted up. Because one alligator's got you, he's trying to roll, and another alligator will grab some piece of you sticking out of that mouth, and he's not going to roll, and they're going to tear you to pieces. But
yeah, you're just like meat to that. You're like a pork roast.
But if you're not really fighting back or giving them much of a fight, they just go down to the bottom and sit down on the bottom. You drown. They don't even...
Yeah, they'll save you for later.
Yeah, they don't even bite hard. I mean, they can hold you, but they're not trying to bite you in half. They're just holding you. And they'll drown you.
Yeah, they're just trying to get you to stop squirming.
Yeah, that's
is all they're trying to do.
Right.
Then they'll just tuck you under there. They're like, I'm going to eat that later.
Yeah. It happens to those kids. It's not like it bites them to death or anything. Just grabs them and swims down the bottom. The kid's drowned.
I mean, the way that the bite force that they have will absolutely take your hand or your arm off.
Yeah.
Depending on the size, because that has happened. Like, they've had trainers like had their arms or hands bit off. But normally, if the gator wants to eat you, it's just grabbing you so it can drag you into the water, and it rolls.
Right.
And so it can like, but then it'll like take you down and like drown you, so you'll stop wiggling.
Yeah.
And then it'll like save you for later, and it'll just like pick parts out.
I think that's how they lose their hands and their arms, though.
Yeah.
They bite the hand or the arm, and then you start fighting, and the alligator rolls and rips your hand off. Rips your hand off.
Well, that happened with I think there was kind of like several years ago. There was a very famous photo that went around, and a lot of people thought that it was doctored. It was photoshopped, and it was a picture of an alligator, and it had like a dude's hand like sticking out of the jaw. And Snopes looked into it, a bunch of people looked into it, and they said, no, this is absolutely real. That was the thing that happened. It was a trainer. I don't think it was in the U.S. I think it might have been in Asia somewhere. But yeah, he leaned too close, like doing something with the alligator, and the alligator just like snapped and like popped his fucking hand off. And just, there was a picture of him, like, I don't know who took the picture, but the pictures there was just like a perfectly nice, like, man's hand, like laying out, like hanging out of his mouth like that. But, it's pretty fucked up. But I was going to say something else, but I forgot what it was. Crocs are bigger as well. They tend to be, yeah. At the alligator farm, and honestly, as far as I know, Florida Everglades, in the southern part of Florida, the big swamp, is the only place on Earth, as far as I'm aware, where alligators and crocodiles live in the same habitat. I think that's the only place. If you go to the alligator farm, they have crocodiles there as well. They have a big crocodile display of like crocodiles from all over the world. They have like some of those ones that have those big long needle noses, and they have like all that kind of stuff. They also have some like albino alligators. They have all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. Camp Guy said, I had a friend that had a python that was wrapping around him. They had to kill the snake to get it off the dude. That's the thing. I've had friends that had pythons, and most of them were pretty chill. But I have heard of a few cases where the python got out and like got the dog or got the baby or something. You know what I mean? So it does happen. I don't think it's that common, but it does happen. I quite like pythons. They seem like pretty cool, but you know, I don't know if I would have one as a pet. Not with other animals around, because python would look at Pookie and be like, "Oh, look at that little nugget." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that would be really fucked up. I used to be really paranoid at our old house because Pookie would go out and run around in the backyard, and sometimes, even though we told her not to, she would go kind of like under the fence, or she would kind of go down to the water hole or something like that, and I was kind of worried that like something was going to get her. Nothing did, thankfully, and now that we've moved to this new house, she absolutely seems completely uninterested in going outside. She jumps up on the windowsill and looks out the window, but I think it might be completely because the next door has 2 dogs that are always in the backyard, because she's always kind of like jumping up looking over there, like looking at the dogs, because that dog scared her that one time, and I think she hasn't forgotten about it, so she doesn't really like to go. So she'll go like down to the sliding glass window, like in the living room, and she'll kind of look out and be like, I kind of want to go outside, like on the back porch, but then she kind of goes out for a second, and then she'll be like, no, fuck it, and then she'll come back in. But that's okay with me. She can stay inside. She doesn't really go downstairs that much. She mostly stays up here. Upstairs is kind of like her little kingdom now.
She just tries to keep Pookie from coming up here.
Keep Beijing from coming up here.
Beijing from coming up here, yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. She has a thing where it's like, at night, like when we're kind of like getting ready to like watch movies or whatever for the night, she goes out in the hall and like she lays like this with her little paws crossed, like at the top of the staircase, and just watches, just making sure like Beijing doesn't come up there. Beijing doesn't really try to come up here all that much. Sometimes she does, but I haven't seen her up here. Beijing hasn't come up here in like fucking probably a couple of weeks at this point. I haven't seen her up here in a couple of weeks.
Said they'd never tasted alligator before. Gator is kind of flaky, a little bit dry.
It's okay.
It's kind of fishy, slightly fishy flavored.
I remember it being like more mild than fish. Like not as fishy as fish, but still kind of fishy.
It's kind of not as good as, say, turtle. Turtle is better, but it's similar to turtle. Kind of like snake. If you ever had snake, it's a little bit like that. But the flakes of the meat are bigger. It's a little drier. It's hard to cook. Most people will cook it on a barbecue grill. And it has a slight fishy flavor to it. It's just okay. It's not something that I would pay a lot of money for. You know. Although they got people that will, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not like anything special.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you can get other seafood or something else like that that tastes pretty much the same.
Or better.
Or better, so...
Yeah, lobster's a lot better.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Tuna's better, if you ask me.
Yeah, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, like, it all kind of tastes... And I love seafood. But to me, it's like, I've had alligator once or twice, and I was just kind of like, that's good, but it wasn't anything, like, mind-blowing.
No.
You know what I mean? It just seemed kind of like, oh, okay, more of that.
Right.
That's all. Tila says, I just finished that Rick James book. Yeah, Confessions of a Super Freak. Yeah. Jenny, y'all should do a show on infamous celebrities because Rick was a real super freak. We should actually probably do a show on Rick James. Let's write that down. Let's write that down.
I wonder how much of it was true. Did you talk about the girl that they kept and who said that she said that they burned her with a car cigarette lighter and kept her as a sex slave type of deal? It didn't really sound 100% legit to me, but it did go to court. But I think it got.
But weirder things have happened.
Yeah, weirder things have happened. It was Rick James and his girlfriend captured some other girl, or she claimed that they captured her, but it might have just been crack cocaine, crackheads will fucking come up with all kinds of crazy stories.
But that's
the thing.
They
were all kind of crackheads.
Well, that's the thing too, is that crack will make you come up with a bunch of stories, but it'll also make you do a bunch of crazy shit. Yeah. So they might have done some of that shit too.
Yeah, but she would have been a crackhead.
There's no way of knowing.
She would have been a crackhead, and they were doing it to her. But she's staying.
Well, that doesn't excuse it.
No, but she's staying because of the crack. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And they're all of diminished capacity. You know.
Yeah, I guess that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. It's not normal people. I could leave, but I'm gonna stay because of the crack.
Because the crack is.
Because the crack, yeah.
That sweet, sweet crack.
Yeah.
Never done crack.
It
can't be that awesome.
She says, he talks about Tom. He's real transparent in the book about it. Okay.
That sounds good, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like Zoe Lund from Miss 45 would be a great subject, too. That's actually a really good idea. I was always kind of, like, fascinated with her, actually. I'm going to write her down, too. She died, like, quite young, actually.
Rick James died pretty young.
Well, you live like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've talked about this before. You kind of live like that. You either, like, live forever...
Yeah.
Or you die, like, really, really young.
I think he didn't make it to his 50s. He might have been late 40s, very early 50s when he died. That's just based on my memory. He didn't live very long. I also think he died broke. I think, if I remember.
That sucks.
Pretty broke.
You know what? You want to hear something hilarious? I remember very distinctly being in 6th grade. So I was 12 years old, so what was it? 1984. And I remember thinking to myself, in the year 2000, which seemed like a very long way away when I was from 1984, I will be 38, what was it, 38 years old or 28 years old? I can't remember. I can't math. And I was like, God, I'll be so old. Isn't that funny? Yeah. And now, like, 2000 is, like, fucking 22 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just, like, funny that I still remember thinking that, like, when I was 12 years old. Like, thinking how
old you'd be in 2000.
Like, how old I would be in 2000. I'm like, oh, my God, I'll be so old. That's crazy. 2000. And now it's, like, fucking 2022.
Yeah.
We're, like, in the fucking future. I thought there'd be, like, Jetsons shit going on.
Flying cars.
I feel ripped off.
Yeah.
Not really. What did the Jetsons have that was, like, cooler than what we have now?
I don't know. Robot.
Yeah, I guess, like, robot. But, well, we kind of have shit like... Well, not quite, but we kind of have some shit like that.
Their houses didn't have any walls. Remember that? It was just glass windows.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, okay, now, one thing that they did have that I thought was rad was that... I love that the Jetsons, even though it was supposed to be the future, still had, like, the standard, like, dude goes to work, like, woman stays home and takes care of the house kind of thing.
It was 50s.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like 50s projected into the like future, which I thought was like very funny. But one thing that she had that I was like really into was like she had a thing where she could just like sit in front of a mirror and like basically like spray like a pretty face onto her face. And I was just kind of like, okay, I want that. Like, would you just like spray like perfect makeup and perfect hair on?
Well, didn't she put her face in a cone? And then when she pulled it back, it had makeup on her?
No, I thought it was just like a spray thing. If I remember I'm trying to think of like because it was in the credits, like the opening credits, like it showed like, oh, all the crazy shit the Jetsons had. And I think she just like sat in front of a mirror and it was just like, psh, and it's just like beautiful makeup and face and beautiful perfect hair. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I would like that.
It's been so long, I don't remember everything.
So I don't have to like fucking actually do that shit? That would be awesome.
They had video phones, but they didn't have internet.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what's like so funny about it.
Yeah. Well, no one could have imagined the internet really back then. Some people did imagine the internet, but that was like part of the fucking DARPA and military industrial complex were coming up with what you could do with an internet. And a lot of it had to do with communication between the military bases and nuclear warfare and stuff. And then you could take this internet and hook it up to a central processing unit or a computer and get it to manage your nuclear attack strategies and stuff. That's where they came up with that shit fucking on Terminator with Skynet. Skynet is the internet. That's what they're talking about. The internet between all your missiles.
I have to say that the novel Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I can't remember what year it was written, but it was like pretty early. When I remember reading that in the 80s, and then later realizing, man, what he was talking about in that was essentially the internet. Like, people were uploading, like, information to it, and everybody could access it. It was very much like the internet. Right. I remember thinking that. So it was like, it was pretty early. Like, so some people, like, knew what was going on.
Well, this new thing that, Robot Head is trying to make, what's Zuckerberg, talking about the metaverse. That is what I was trying to describe when I was talking about extraterrestrials. I was talking about, like, those big ships, or things that seem like ships, like on the, fucking the Phoenix Lights accounts where, the thing is fucking a mile wingtip to wingtip. I think it's more kind of like, not really a ship as you would know it. A ship as we know it flies around, it's hollow, it's got people in it, and rooms, and, food, and oxygen, and you live in it, it takes care of your biology. That's what I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just all machine, and there are people living in it or aliens in it, but they're machine intelligences, and they're downloaded into it like an internet, and they are in there living in a metaverse. Yeah, they might be able to look out to see where they are from time to time, but most of the time they're in their metaverse, fantasizing that they're at the casino or interacting with one another, and they're immortal in a heaven-like state.
Yeah, Black Mirror did an episode like that.
Yeah, that's what it is. And the chances are aliens would be like that. There's no reason why they would be biological. They're just,
I mean, if you can abandon, like, biological shit, it's like, I can see, I would do that.
Doing. Because that's the ultimate expression.
It's just a nuisance.
It's a nuisance, especially
the body is a nuisance.
Especially in space. Because if you have a spaceship that's carrying around atmosphere and has to grow and produce food, the occupants don't live very long, so you need reproduction and education to make new replacements, new replacement generations. That's very taxing on a ship. It's a lot more efficient if their souls are all out of a damn body and put into a damn machine, and they're in a metaverse, like a heaven-like metaverse where they're real, they're not imitation people. They are real people in kind of like soul form in a internet/metaverse type situation in that craft, which would be kind of like what you see from 2001 and the monolith. The monolith might be that. It's not one thing. It's an entire species of machine intelligences inside there in a metaverse, or maybe they're not inside there. There's many of those monoliths, and they're kind of like and they're a network of monoliths that they kind of can communicate with, from their metaverse. And whenever a monolith gets somewhere, they can kind of just click over or scroll over to that, change the window, and they can experience reality wherever that monolith is, Something like that, like an ultimate sensory apparatus. It's going to be something like that. So, I was imagining it, but I didn't have a word for it. I think that's what I think is in those so-called alien spaceships. They're more like they're machine intelligences inside of a metaverse. I think that's probably what it is.
And I mean, totally, somebody needs to get on that, because if I could pop my fucking consciousness into a robot avatar or an avatar online, like, I would totally do that.
It's an avatar inside the metaverse.
That's okay.
Right.
I'm
it
down.
All feels real to you.
That's what I mean. I'm down
there. I would do it, but I would only do it once I was old and death was imminent anyway, or you're terminally ill. So well, now it's time to go.
Well, I don't want to wait that long, because by the time I get to that point, like, my brain might be fucking deteriorated.
There's always a chance, though, that you get in there and you die.
I mean, I wanna get in there when I'm still like fucking spry enough to like know what's going on. Like,
well, maybe you don't though. Maybe you go in there and you're dead.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know any different, would I?
Well, you could kill yourself and you wouldn't know any better.
That's what I'm. Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I would go at the last minute, pretty much, and be like, "Yeah, this life's over. I'm gonna go ahead and go in there and see what that's like. It may kill me. I don't know. It's just like the Star Trek transporter. It transports you, but it disassembles you and reassembles you. Are you a copy, or are you dead? And is that a copy of you running around thinking that's you, or is that really you? You don't know.
So there's so many like Kirks and Spocks and Bolins like running around the universe.
You don't know.
Because they keep making copies.
It might be a copy. It may not be
copies.
You might have died when that happened.
I don't know why I just remember that stupid SNL sketch. But was that an SNL sketch? Making copies. Yeah, I think it was. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about shit. Something you just said, and then I just like forgot all about it. Tila's like, I wonder who the longest living popular music artist is. Is it Paul McCartney? That's what they've been talking about for the last few minutes. The longest living popular music artist, like one that's still alive. Yeah, Paul McCartney's still alive. Mick Jagger's still alive. Cher is still alive, 75. Keith Richards is 78. Tom Jones and Shirley... Wait, is Shirley Bassey still alive? I didn't realize that. I didn't think Tom Jones was still alive either, but it's like, you know, I don't know. Tina Turner, she's still alive. Little Richard is still alive. No way. Is he really?
Dude's alive.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Shirley Bassey is 85. Holy shit. I didn't realize some of these people are still around. Kanavatsalon says, I've always wondered why, if our planet is 3/4 water, there are no aquatic humans. Maybe there are. Maybe that mermaid documentary was real.
Yeah.
Well, you would think...
An aquatic human would be a whale.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like whales in a lot of ways are...
That would be about best.
They're probably like smarter than some humans I know, so...
Difficult to say.
They seem smarter.
They don't... They've talked about that before. In an aquatic type world, there's no chance of any kind of technology. So you're not going to have a human type intelligence there because you can't make fire. And if you can't make fire, then you can't make any advanced tools. If you're intelligent enough to make advanced tools, you're slowly probably going to gravitate out to the water, you know, to become a land animal over time. Probably how that would go. And then you see some animals that are aquatic that do have real good intelligence, like octopi and things like Humboldt squid. But the problem with them is that they don't live very long. They don't live long enough. As soon as a male octopus mates, he dies. It's weird. They're just not built to last.
Well, even I think some species of octopi, as soon as the female has shepherded the next generation,
they die
like
too.
she watches over the eggs, but then after the eggs hatch, she dies too.
Yeah.
I think they only live like 2 years.
Yeah,
depends on the species though. There's a lot of different species.
And the Humboldts are constantly they're supposed to be pretty intelligent, but they're super hungry because they grow so quickly. And they'll go into feeding frenzies and eat each other. You know, they'll eat anything.
I'm just so hungry, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're
you asshole. I thought you were my friend.
It's kind of a weird situation where they're partly primitive and part advanced. You know, they can change colors and do all these weird patterns, which has something to do with communication. They seem to understand what's being shown to them in those patterns. But I don't know how they figure anything out. They're not around very long, so it just almost be genetic.
Yeah, a lot of it must be like encoded
into them. But then they can solve all kinds of problems. You know, unscrew lids and take lids off of things and go in, and they do things kind of on par with what a monkey can do. Pretty good intelligence, pretty good memory. But like I said, they don't live long. So
I mean, maybe it's a good thing they don't, because if they lived longer, they'd probably like take over the shit.
They seem to be built just to reproduce and die. Because that's what they do.
Well, like I said, but the interesting thing is that they seem to be a lot more intelligent than they really need to be.
Yeah.
You know? Which is kind of
Something
interesting.
about the way they're built. It's
Yeah.
the same thing with birds. Birds are a lot more intelligent than they would actually need to be, but they can do some pretty...
Yeah, particularly like corvids, like
Yeah.
crows and ravens and stuff like that are like frighteningly intelligent.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's no like necessarily like reason for them to be that smart, because other birds aren't that smart. Like particularly like birds of prey, like owls and stuff like that they're not dumb, but they're not as smart.
And a parrot can live over 100 years old and still be in pretty good shape, and they can remember a bunch of stuff, and they remember the people that raised them, and have friends, and have friendships with cats and do weird things with cats. There's a lot of good videos of them playing with cats and playing jokes on cats, and it's pretty intelligent for what they are. They don't have to be that intelligent, but they are.
You know what I think it might be? I think that animals that, and this probably doesn't apply across the board, but I kind of got the impression that animals that are more like we said, like generalists, in terms of like what they eat or what their lifestyle is like, tend to be more intelligent because they have to figure stuff out. If you are, if you're, say, like a predator in the wild, and all you have to do is all I have to do is like stalk and kill this one. Although predators do kind of seem to be like a little bit smarter, because a lot of times they do have to like wolves, for example, have to like work together with other wolves, so they have to like have some kind of communication thing going on so they can, have like patterns and like catch their prey or whatever. So I do kind of feel like species that are generalists, though, tend to be more intelligent, because I guess their thinking has to be more flexible in a way. Maybe that's what it is. But I don't think that applies across the board, though.
Well, they're talking about, the octopi and stuff. The octopi, evidently the brains are out throughout the entire body. Like there's neurons and brain cells that go down all the legs and everything. So it's hard to know how intelligent or how big their brain really is, because it's kind of disseminated throughout the whole body. It's all the brain.
Which is strange for people to think about, because our brains are kind of like confined in our heads and stuff. Yeah. But the thing about thinking cells or seeing cells or anything like that, they're just cells. Yeah. They can be anywhere on a body. Yeah. And I think that's like a weird concept to us. I was watching, if you guys are into like Z Frank, the guy that does true facts about animals, and he's like really funny. He only puts out a video like once every couple of months, but they're always totally worth it. He put one up earlier today about like starfish and brittle stars and that kind of stuff. And that whole class of like animals is just so fascinating, because basically the thing that starfish and brittle stars and those kind of things have is that, how humans have stem cells. If you have stem cells, just means that, if you don't know, it means that, before you become like a human, really, like all the cells you have can kind of like be whatever. They're just like generalist cells, and it's like, well, this one's going to end up in the brain, or this one's going to end up in the eyeballs, and it's going to do that. But once it's kind of like fixed into the position that it's going to be, it stays like that. But the starfish and stuff like that, they have the same thing, like the stem cells, but their cells stay flexible like throughout their entire lives. So, for example, if some predator comes along and eats off one of their arms, then they have stem cells that'll be like, oh, well, now we're an arm, and they can use their regular ass cells and they can build another arm. Or if they just have an arm left, they can build another starfish on the end of that, which is fucking crazy. And honestly, like, I was watching this video and I was thinking to myself, man, these are weird ass fucking animals. Like, I'd seen them before, but like some of the video they had of them was like super, super weird. And I was just kind of like, you never think about, I guess because I grew up by the beach, and like starfish, you just kind of saw them and they just kind of like sat there. And I think when I was a kid, I didn't realize that they were actually like alive and they could like walk and stuff. They're slow, but they're still animals and they can walk. They have like little bitty little cilia or like little legs or something like that on the bottom, and they can like actually kind of like move around. Like I said, they're slow, but it does happen. So it was kind of like mind-blowing to like see this kind of stuff, and I'm just like, man, fucking Earth is so crazy. And like people talk about aliens and stuff like that, I'm like, we got fucking weird ass fucking animals like right here on fucking Earth. You don't even have to look for the aliens. We got weird fucking, look at some fucking weird ass starfish. They did some weird ass shit. I mean, they can grow back like whole fucking arms and everything like that, because like I said, their cells never lock into a certain thing, which we have that too, but once you're born and the cells all kind of like go into their places, then they can't be changed. Which actually, if starfish can do that, and if we kind of have the same thing, that makes me wonder if at some point in the future we might not be able to like take our own stem cells later and be like, can we keep these activated like when we get older, and it's like, hey, you know, hey, my arm got ripped off, I'm gonna grow another one. You know what I mean? The starfish can do it, and they have the same cells that, you know, we're distantly related to them. They have the same cells as us. It's just the only difference is,
oh no,
she's just gonna do it. The only difference is their stem cells don't, once they're born, it doesn't become locked into one thing. You know what I mean? Their stem cells stay flexible. So I wonder if at some point in the future, like, we could have that done too. And so you could just like grow fucking third arms. You could do whatever the fuck you wanted. That'd be super fun. That'd be really fun.
She don't, but hey, she's crazy. She's gonna tear this shit apart, huh? Then she looks at me and goes, yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna tear it apart.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, okay.
She just does that when she wants attention.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like if you do something that makes her mad, or if you're not paying enough attention to her,
yeah, she's gonna
then she goes over there and scratches on it, because she knows you're gonna turn around and be like, hey, knock it out.
Yeah.
Jeffy Hart says, I used to feed the crows at my college when I was getting my MFA. After a while, they would watch me when I walked to or from my car. Kind of eerie, but cool. Yeah, crows. I've read a bunch of books about crows and ravens and stuff like that, like people that keep them and people that study them. Crows and ravens are actually frighteningly smart. They can figure out stuff that even some apes can't figure out. And which is kind of crazy, because you would think that in their evolutionary niche, if you want to call it that they wouldn't need to be that smart, but they absolutely are. They remember people's faces. They can figure out puzzles. They can figure out all kind of stuff that, like I said, even some apes can't figure out, which, you know, I don't know why. But
well, they fly around. They're scavengers. So there's,
like I said, generalists.
They're generalists. So they see a lot of shit on a daily basis. So they have to have game. That's really what it boils down to.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. That's kind of what I was getting at. That's what I was saying. Why? Yeah. That's why I think that species that are more generalists.
Yeah.
Like humans are, like certain kind of birds are, they tend to be more intelligent, I guess. But then, I don't know, but in some ways it seems kind of random, because it's like, so it's humans, whose intelligence is debatable overall. You got crows and ravens. You got dolphins and whales, who are also frighteningly intelligent. Then you got like octopus and stuff like that. And I can't really think of anything that like links all of those species together necessarily that would make them have to be as intelligent as they are.
Well, the crows were flying around. The dumb ones all got killed.
Yeah, but you would think that was true of every species, though.
Well, just something having to do with the situation they were in. The dumb ones didn't make it. And what got selected were the ones that had skill. That'd be a good way to put it. Because they're just kind of skillful. They're trying to figure shit out. They're cheating, basically. They're not playing by the rules, they're cheating. Like, oh, if I open this and this, then I can get it. Yeah. If I do this and that, then I can get it. If I can trick this animal, I can get that food. That's what they're doing.
Well, they've even figured out, like, how to, like, adapt to the modern world in the sense that, well, here's this nut or this acorn or something like that. I'm going to throw it in the road and let a car run over it and break it.
And then I'll get it.
And then I don't have to break it myself. And, you know, not only do they remember faces, but I was reading, I have this really good book called The Mind of the Raven, which is an ornithologist, and he keeps ravens, and he was like writing about studies he'd done with them. And one thing that he noticed was that crows and ravens and stuff like that, you give them little pieces of meat, and they will save them, you know, they'll eat some of them now, but they'll save some for later. And it's like they'll bury them, and they bury them kind of like all over, and they'll leave them for like a long time.
Pieces of meat?
Yeah, like little pieces. Well, they'll bury them like kind of deep or whatever. I don't know if they care if it rots or not. But they absolutely remember where every single one of those pieces of meat is buried. And he's like, and they bury a lot of them, like in a bunch of different places, because they're trying to like not have other birds steal them. So they kind of go and they have all these little places, and they're trying to like look and make sure, hey, I got to make sure Carl's not watching me or whatever. I'm by myself, and I'm burying the shit. And then they absolutely remember where every single. I'm like, well, they're smarter than me then, because shit, man, I put stuff down all the time and don't remember where it is. So they're a lot smarter than I am, clearly.
How long have we been going?
Not that long. Only 2 hours.
2 hours. That's long.
It's not long.
That's long.
Tom's in a bad mood today.
No, I'm not in a bad mood. Just sleepy.
How can you be sleepy?
I don't know.
You slept so late today.
Just tired.
Mr. 88 says something like 98% of the ocean is completely unexplored. Who knows what exists there? See, that's kind of shit that scares me. Ocean life that exists below the light line in the ocean has just been discovered in the last 20 years or so. Yeah, it's... Honestly, we know more about fucking space than we do about the bottom of the ocean, because we just can't get down there. It's like we've only really been going down there in unmanned kind of like shit for, you know, the last couple decades, something like that. Before that, it was just... We had no fucking idea what was going on down there. So...
Well, they've kind of imaged to the bottom of it. Using satellites and stuff.
But
they kind of know what it looks like.
You can't really go down there and, like, swim around and, like, see what's down there, though.
They drop cameras in those areas. It's mostly like a desert on the bottom. It's just real high pressure, and there's nothing really there. There's no food down there, not in great quantities. So there isn't a whole lot of life. There is in certain areas, like around thermal vents and...
Which for a long time they thought that there wouldn't be any life around that because it'd be too hot or there'd be too many like toxic chemicals or whatever. But there's a lot of, and I think that finding in particular, I think that kind of kicked off a lot of people that are like exobiologists and stuff like that that were really interested in, you know, talking about life on other planets or whatever. And they were just kind of like, look, even on Earth, we have these animals that are living in these conditions that previously we thought were like not like completely not conducive to life, and they found life there too. So obviously that was like opening up the window of you know the conditions that would support life, even though it was like, you know, what do they call them, extremophiles, right?
Yeah. In the real deep ocean, the most common things though are microbes. Those are just fucking everywhere. The microbes don't even know. They don't know anything about being deep. It's all normal for them.
Well, they wouldn't know any different. Yeah. They're just like, hey, I'm born here, and it's like, whatever, this is like a cool place.
There'll be things like little shrimp.
Doing their microbe stuff.
Little wispy-looking little shrimp will walk by on the bottom. But there isn't a whole lot of food. And it's cold. So I think that's a problem. If you were to drop something off, say like drop a damn whale into the water, it doesn't even make it down to the bottom. It'll just get to a certain level, it'll just hang there. Things will eat it. You think that things would fall all the way to the bottom, but it doesn't. Pieces of metal and stuff will, but if you were to drop a whale off, a dead whale, it wouldn't even fall. It wouldn't even go down the bottom. It would just get to a certain area where it would just kind of become buoyant, if I remember correctly.
I mean, whales have always been like really fascinating to me. Not only because they're fucking gigantic, but also because, as I said, they seem to be like a lot more they seem to have not only intelligence, but they seem to have culture, in the sense that ones that live in different areas of the world have their own, for lack of a better word, languages. you go to, because you have like scientists that study this stuff, and they're just kind of like, look, we recorded whale song in this part of the world, and then we go to this other place and it's the same species, but we recorded their whale song, and it's like kind of different, like a different dialect.
Well, elephants too.
Yeah, elephant, like, still, that's another animal that's, like, super, super intelligent, and probably more intelligent than it needs to be, given its ecological niche. But, yeah, that's fucking crazy. Which, like I said, makes me even, like, madder that they put, like, elephants in circuses and stuff. You can see why they go batshit every now and then and stomp everybody to death. Just saying.
Because they're trying to get that elephant to do something that it's not built to do.
That's what I'm saying. So I kind of like feel like it's probably better to not put them into circuses.
No, circuses fucking suck.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of zoos either, unless it's not really a zoo, but like more of a sanctuary type situation. Because I've been to some zoos when I was a kid. I remember, I don't remember where it was, but I remember going to one zoo when I was a kid. And the animals all seemed like they were in these really, even like the big cats and stuff like that, they were in these like little bitty enclosures and little bitty. And even as a kid, I was just kind of like, I really don't feel like this animal should be like living in this tiny little, I mean, normally they would live in like this big expansive area, and like you're confining them to these little, they must be fucking going crazy in there. A human absolutely would, so I don't see why an animal wouldn't. So I do kind of like the more, if you're going to have a zoo, if you're going to have something like that, like, I'm not a huge fan of Disney, but their Animal Kingdom is actually more like, if you're going to have a zoo, that's more like what it would be like, because they don't have cages, they don't have anything like that. It's just like a big open,
it's an animal park.
Yeah, it's a big open area. The animals can like run around, and, you know, people can come and look at them and stuff, but it's like they have a lot of room to run around, and they're taken care of and shit like that. So that's fine.
Well, it goes back to all that Tiger King bullshit, because there's these we have these wild animal species, and there's no habitat for them. A lot of it's gone. You do have animals walking around in fucking parks in Africa, but those pieces of land can only support so many animals. There are more of them in captivity than there are in the wild. If you get rid of things like zoos, I can understand getting rid of fucking circuses. I think circuses are fucking, that's retro bullshit anyway. Who goes to circus? But if you start getting rid of them in zoos, then that means you're wiping out fucking probably most of the elephant population. Most of them are in captivity. You gotta have to. The same thing with those lions. You got the Lion King. He just had, that was around here in Florida, he just had that damn lion and tiger zoo, basically, and they were just giving birth to more and more cats in there, and he had all these cats, getting free cats, coming out of nowhere. Well, those cats would have never existed if it wasn't for him. They're being born in captivity. You can't really release them. You can't release them in Florida. They'd get killed, or they'd kill people. You can't take them back to where they come from because there's too many cats wild there. You know, the land can only support so many of them. So there's got to be some kind of happy medium where mankind lives in harmony with animals in captivity. And believe it or not, Eastern Europe and in Russia and stuff, where they allow people to have the big cats like servals and mountain lions and panthers and big cats, right? Well, this guy's on there, you know, fucking I Am Puma is one of the channels. And he's just got some cats out in the back, and it's done to spec, you know what I mean, like a habitats. But he lets that mountain lion just live in the house with him like it's Pookie. And I wouldn't think it'd be possible. But that cat loves that man. Just, you know, gets in bed with him, hugs him.
I mean, one day it might eat his face off, but maybe not. Maybe not.
He thinks he calls, you know, basically, you know, his wife is like, oh, there's Daddy, there's Daddy. And he's just fucking, he sees Daddy coming outside, walking up to the front door and just freaking out. Oh, Daddy's home, you know. No, that cat loves that man. But he's raised that cat. So, depending on how things go out here on the planet, that may be the future of those species, is to evolve alongside man. maybe for hundreds of thousands or millions of years, to where there are no wild lions and tigers, that they're now a domestic house cat. You know, that's very possible. Because the domestic cat was wild. The horse used to be wild.
Well, the interesting thing about domestic cats is that they're kind of one of those few species that actually sort of domesticated themselves.
Yeah, just hanging out.
In the sense that other animals, like dogs, started out as wolves, and, the wolves that kind of hung out by the human camps got more and more, conducive to human behavior and, like, friendly toward humans. So that was, that was encouraged. So, the breeding, like, bore that out. I kind of feel like cats were more kind of like, well, we're kind of like approach you and we kind of want some food, but we're not like going to be like nice to you or anything. We're just going to like hang back for a second. But so I kind of feel like domestic cats are not as domesticated as dogs are. I will say that. In the sense that people that have, pet dogs are people pleasers. They're pack animals, so they see their master as they kind of look up, we want to do everything, we want to please that master.
Yeah.
Cats don't have that, which is why I was like cats more than dogs. But cats are very kind of like, yeah, like you're
They're not really pack animals, really.
They're not. That's what I mean. They're not pack animals, so it's like, I'm gonna hang out with you because you feed me and you're nice to me. Yeah. But like, you don't own me, bitch. I kind of like that better. I like that attitude better.
Another possibility is that as we increase in technological understanding and ability, we become more technological. We start seeing animals like elephants and giraffes and big cats. We start seeing those as like our children, that we have to take care of those species. So you might keep some originals around, but what if you do something through genetic engineering called elevation, where you elevate a tiger by increasing its intelligence, making it more human-like, and then have it like a child that lives in your house that you take care of. And you make a new species, but it's a lion, but it now can have a greater role in human society. That's another option.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, now it has a human type intelligence. Maybe it's got opposable thumbs. It could walk upright, but it's still a lion, and it could speak. Why not? Maybe that's possible. So you're elevating the animals instead of wiping them out or keeping them in cages. You're elevating them so they can function in society. How about an idea like that?
I mean, yeah, I'd be down with that. I mean, I'm very willing to accept that animals, even the way they are, I always kind of thought animals were a lot smarter than humans gave them credit for. I kind of feel like for a long time, humans were like, oh, we're the smartest ever, and it's like animals are dumb and stuff like that. But I was like, well, they evolved for the same amount of time that we did, so obviously they can't be that stupid because they're still around. It all depends on what, as I said, ecological niche that they were occupying, and they were exactly as intelligent as they needed to be. And also, like, people are overestimating how intelligent humans are, which is not very. But I mean, since we've had Pookie is like, she's basically like a human kid. Kinda. She can't talk. Yeah. But
facial expressions and shit.
Her facial expressions and her vocalizations, like her tone, it's very, very clear what she's trying to get across. Yeah. I mean, she's very good at, like, communicating. You pretty much know exactly what she wants. You can tell what her mood is from the way her face looks or from the tone of her vocalizations. The things that she says, it's pretty clear. From what I thought.
From what I remember hearing from guys that had figured some of this out, at least through genetics. Somebody might correct me if I'm wrong, but intelligence doesn't really have a lot to do with speech.
No.
Humans speak because there's a certain gene packet that we have, and we have larynx for it.
Apes could talk if they had they don't have the mechanism.
Well, yeah, there's also some kind of gene packet inside the genome that allows kind of like a certain ability, kind of like a mental ability.
So if they could talk, they would.
If they could, they would. But it kind of like because of that certain gene packet, it manifests in childhood when it's around other things that talk. If you were to probably give that gene packet to an ape or a cat and then give it a vocal cords, it would probably be able to talk. All right. If even though without really elevating its intelligence too much, it would be able to talk. Just it wouldn't have a whole lot to say. It's not that intelligent, but it would talk, ask for things, and maybe try to put a sentence together. But it has more to do with that gene those genes than it does the intelligence. Because in a way, birds are talking. They don't have very much intelligence.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah.
Well, and they have a whole... Well, the thing about it is that they have a whole language that we don't really understand because we don't live in that culture. Yeah. We're not birds. So we don't really understand what they're saying to each other. So it's possible that they could be relating a whole bunch of like subtle messages. And I kind of suspect this is probably the case.
Maybe.
That we don't get because we're not them.
It might just be a bunch of emotion.
Yeah, but that's not, we can't like denigrate him because of that, but that's what humans do.
Yeah.
Like I said, humans aren't really that much smarter. Let's not get up ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that. And like I said, the fact that Pookie kind of talks, she has like little vocalizations that go like in a certain way that kind of sounds like human speech. And you kind of know what she wants when she talks. And it's usually correct. So she's pretty good at like communicating what she wants, like through her facial expressions, through her vocalizations. So I don't think that's not dumb. That's not dumb at all. And I kind of feel like animals in general are probably like way smarter than humans give them credit for. I've always thought that. And I'm kind of glad nowadays to be like sort of vindicated because damn. I wanted to like back up because somebody said something back here, but I can't remember where it was. How much have I missed, says Rebecca? Probably like a lot, probably like 2 hours worth. But Started 78, this was a while back. This is one of the ones I wanted to address. When I was in Antarctica.
He was in Antarctica?
Yeah, Starting 78 said.
All right.
I used to feed this skua, which is a bird. About 10 years later, I came back and a skua flew right up to me. I swear it was the same one, and he recognized me. Not crazy. Birds actually do recognize human faces, so I would not be surprised if that was the same one. And he was like, "Hey, bud, what's up?"
Yeah, well, the cranes would recognize me.
Yeah, we've talked about the sandhill cranes before. They will absolutely protect. If you get them a granola bar one time, they will remember you forever.
Yeah, and I think some of them that approached me remembered me for when I fed them when they were babies. Because they grew up fast.
Yeah.
You know, they grow up real fast. A couple months, they're fucking full grown. So you'll have a full-grown fucking crane walk up to you like he knows you, asking for food, and I'm like,
"Hey, bud."
And I'm like,
remember that time?
And then you give him one, and you're thinking that might have been that little one that was that big, a year ago. You know?
It's like, I'm kind of down on my luck right now. I remember you gave me something back in the old days, and it's like, yeah. Well, yeah. Before you know it, they'll be like fucking knocking on your windows wanting some fucking food. Tila says, I have to admit, I've been to tons of zoos, and Sorka says, I have as well, but I don't have a problem with zoos per se, as long as their focus is conservation, and as long as they're giving the animals a habitat that's similar to their habitat in the wild, and they're not, like, confining them in cages. Like I said, when I was a kid, the zoo that I went to, there'd be, like, a big fucking tiger, and he'd be, like, in a cage, like, smaller than this room, which, that's fucked up. You shouldn't do that to any fucking animal. But if you're gonna have something where you have, like, these big, huge, like, expansive areas, and it simulates their, you know, habitat in the wild, and they're endangered, and also they're kind of, like, doing something, like, they have a breeding program or something like that, I don't have a problem with that. But I kind of feel like the era of, let's just put all these exotic animals in these tiny little fucking horrible cages with concrete and let people come and gawk at them, I kind of feel like that's over, and rightfully so. I really don't think that we should be doing that. But, you know, like I said, if you have a breeding program and you have, like, a really good area that simulates their habitat in the wild, then I don't have a problem with it. Let me see. What did you do? Yeah, I hate zoos also. I'm okay with conservation reserves, etc. Yeah, I remember seeing a silverback in a concrete jail as a 4-year-old, and I cried my ass off. Yeah, I mean, I remember being a kid and being at this zoo and seeing this, like, it was a tiger, and it was in this, like, really small enclosure that was all, like, caged in. And I remember as a kid being like, what? This poor, like... And I was, like, little. It's like, I didn't know, like, how much... you know, room these animals needed, but I was kind of like, this is small. It's like, this is smaller than my house, and my house is pretty small, and it's like, I don't think a tiger should be living in, like, this small of an area. Kanamatsan says, they say that dolphins are next in line in intelligence before humans.
Yeah, it's hard to say,
They
man.
probably are. I mean, it's hard to say because their lifestyle is so different, but...
It's hard to say what intelligence is.
I mean, great apes are, like, pretty... But honestly, I don't really make much of a distinction between apes and humans. I mean, humans, from a technical standpoint, are apes. We're just apes. So it's not like we're making a big distinction between us and chimpanzees and gorillas. It's like 98% DNA similarity. So it's like, it's not that much difference. When you're talking about something like dolphins... who are significantly, you know, distant from us genetically, but not that different.
They're pretty far.
But, I mean, yeah, they are, but not that far. So it's kind of like, I don't know. So the intelligence is different because their intelligence and their, you know, lifestyle is so much different from ours. But...
they have a bunch of senses we don't have.
From everything I could determine about them, they do really seem to... I mean, they have a lot of the same things that people equate with intelligence. The weird thing about it is that we judge animal intelligence by human standards, which is dumb because other intelligent animals are living in an entirely different, you know, kind of environment to us. Like, if you're a dolphin, things that are on a human intelligence test, that's not going to be relevant. You know what I mean? So it's like, we're the ones administering the tests, but the dolphins are just kind of like, well, that doesn't really mean anything to us because that's not anything that has to do with us. But from our standpoint, they seem very intelligent to us in the sense that they can recognize themselves in mirrors. They seem to, like, have self-awareness. Things like that. So, you know. Let's see. Can you imagine dolphins binge watching 10 hours of Tiger King? They're way too smart for that. They probably are. That's why I'm saying I'm very comfortable saying dolphins are probably smarter than most humans. Because did I watch 10 hours of Tiger King? Yes, I did. But, you know what I mean. Kanavasan also says, bunnies are the shit. My brother had a bunny farm. One male and a harem of females. He fuck all day for years until he died. What a life, more than 10 years. Oh.
Yeah.
Zach says, I love how, as this conversation is going down, I'm cuddling with an elderly poodle. Aw. And then Tila says, I love seeing those animal and people reunited videos. Do you remember that one, like, about the dude with the lion? It was a lion, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty famous one.
The dude with the lion runs up to him and hugs it.
Buddy!
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god, that was amazing. Well, like, the dude's face for a second, he was just, I saw it.
He was like, oh shit.
For a second, he was like, oh shit, he's gonna eat me?
Yeah.
But then he was like, that lion was like, no, man, oh man, I remember you.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was so funny. It was almost like two people.
Or the dude that raised that gorilla and the gorilla saw him. Remember? Mm-hmm. And then hung out with him, and then he brought his wife, and then the gorilla brought his 2 wives, and they all hung out. And then when he got in the boat and left, the gorilla followed him all the way upstream and called at him, and then hung out with him the next day. Yeah. He considered that gorilla considered him to his dad. Yeah.
See, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know. I'm fascinated by great apes particularly, and I've read a lot of books about, like, I've read all Jane Goodall stuff and stuff like that, and she's hung out with a lot of apes, and I read
gorilla.
What?
The vanilla gorilla.
Okay.
The abdominal snowman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've read a lot of books about people that studied gorillas and stuff like that, or lived with them for an extended period of time, and pretty much everybody that's done that, they approach them as though they're humans after a while, because, like, they pretty much kind of act like humans. Like, they're all very distinctive personalities. They all have their own kind of little quirks going on, and, you know, some of them are cool, some of them are dicks.
Yeah. Just
kind of like interacting with the humans. It really doesn't seem all that different. And that's kind of fascinating to me. That's very fascinating.
Yeah.
Rebecca says, dogs have masters, cats have staff. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if Pookie considers us staff. She kind of, well, maybe she does.
No, she thinks we're a family.
She thinks we're mommy and daddy, but she's like a toddler in the sense that, why are you guys not doing what I want you to do, like, immediately?
She's getting off into the brush and face.
Oh my god.
Her ears perked up. She knows what brush means.
That's what we have.
Yeah, she went brush, yeah. Brush.
She's like, brush?
Brush, yeah.
I told you we have to spell it.
Yeah.
We have to spell it.
She took a hairbrush and hold it like that.
She's got, my hairbrush. Yeah. I have, like, a white hairbrush that I brush my hair with. And I kind of started, like, fucking around one day. I was brushing my hair, and she kind of came up and was like, what are you doing? Yeah. And I was like, look, it's a brush, Mommy's brushing hair. I'm brushing Pookie's hair. And then she's like, oh, she liked it. Yeah. And so now, every morning, as soon as I walk into that area, like the dressing room area where the brush is, Pookie's like, brr, and she jumps up on the sink. Brush? And I'm just kind of like, oh shit, do I have time to do this right now? Because if you start doing it,
she won't want to stop.
Then you'll have to stand there for like half an hour or more. Because she will not, she'll just be like, yeah, you could do this all day. She's perfectly happy with you doing it all day. And I don't have time for that. But I do try to do it some. But she's like, she gets super excited about it. And like, you hold the brush up. She wants you to like brush her face. But she keeps moving her head because she gets so excited. So it's kind of like, I'm trying to brush the side of her face, and she's like, and then I'm trying to like brush her back because I'm trying to like get all the hair out too. She's not like super furry because she's short hair, but she's kind of like this and like that. And I'm just like, look, would you just be still? And then finally she'll be still and she'll put her head against my chest like that and just let me fucking brush her. But if you let her do that, she will do it like all fucking day. And she's just like, she never gets sick of it, ever. And then I'll do it for like half an hour, and then she'll be like, okay, I'm fine. And she'll jump down and go do something else. But then the second she hears me over there doing something, she's back. She jumps up on the thing. Brush, and she like pats it with her hand. Like, come on. And I'm just like, Jesus, I don't have time for this right now. But yeah. I mean, I try, but Jesus Christ. Nobody has time to do that. Are you ready to... She's listening. Yeah. The things I do for Pokey. Well, like I said, she's like our child in a lot of ways. So. They're talking about Food of the Gods. Oh, Day of the Animals. I watched Day of the Animals last week. I watched the Riff Tracks version, though. I think I saw it when I was a kid, and I had, like, forgotten about it. And I'm into, like, 70s disaster or nature run-amok movies, so I really wanted to watch it. So I watched it on... The Riff Tracks version is actually really funny. Day of the Animals is... I love it because Leslie Nielsen is in it, and Leslie Nielsen plays the biggest fucking douchebag that you've ever seen. He's like fucking aggro and rapey, and it's just kind of like, it's a whole thing. And I was actually surprised because I had never seen him in a role that extreme before, so I was like laughing my ass off that he was in that. But the funniest thing about this movie, you can tell that they really didn't have that much money to show like animal attacks or anything, so it's like, well, let's just have most of the movie be most of these people like just walking through the mountains or whatever, and then like animals like staring at them like angrily. So it's like, let's have the fucking shot of this owl looking kind of pissed off, or this puma looking kind of pissed off, that will like insert like looking at these people. So you don't really see like a lot of animal attacks, let's put it like that. But the premise of the thing being like the animals are all pissed off because humans are like fucking up the earth or whatever. And all the animals are mad. But mostly it's just like people walking and whining and intercut with shots of animals looking pissed off at them. But it's kind of hilarious. It's hilarious too in the sense that, like I said, Leslie Nielsen is in it and he is a giant anus in this movie. He is such a dick. I think he even like tries to rape a girl at one point.
Pookie's looking at me. What you looking at me for? Okay.
They're talking about Food of the Gods.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a long time, but that's the one about the rats. That's based on the H.G. Wells story. Well, loosely based on the H.G. Wells story. Camp Guy says, my dogs will piss on the floor just if they need to, and I don't follow their nighttime schedule of going out right before bed.
Damn.
Well, I mean, you know.
Yeah. What was that, Poke?
Pookie doesn't do that. She's a good girl. She's not, like, super bratty.
No.
She will, like, tear some stuff up, but not, like... I've seen some other videos of, like, cats on YouTube that is like, oh, you make me mad. I'm, like, pooping your bed, or, like, pooping your shoes, or, like, tear up your Christmas tree, or, like, tear up all your... like, pull off all the toilet paper. Pookie doesn't do that. No. She doesn't do that. If she's mad, she'll kind of, like, scratch on the side of my little ottoman over there to get attention. Or she'll knock something off. She'll, like, get up on the thing and, like, push something off. But she doesn't really do anything more destructive than that. She's not super destructive. But she knows that, because she knows we'll pay attention to her if she just does a little thing. What you drinking, Jenny? This is a screwdriver, vodka and orange juice. Church of the Divine Girls. You all right?
Who?
You.
Sleepy.
Why are you sleepy?
Because I'm sleepy.
Come on, be fun.
Yeah.
Never watched Day of the Animals for some reason. It's not a great movie, I have to say. It's kind of like one of those ones that... You know, there was a big thing in the 70s where everybody was like kind of these, as I said, like the nature run amok movies. Some of them were more fun because they were more ridiculous, like Night of the Lepus about giant bunny rabbits.
All right, we'll see you, Taylor. Have a good one.
Bye.
Yeah. She's got to go out to dinner.
Day of the Animals was fun, but it was kind of like, a lot of it was kind of boring. Like I said, a lot of it was just like people walking through the wilderness, like complaining, intercut with shots of animals looking stern. You know what I mean? Like, what are these fucking motherfuckers doing? So it was kind of like that. But it's still, watch the RiffTrax version. I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi. You can watch that. Tila says, an old friend of mine used to paint her dog's nails. I couldn't stand seeing that.
Damn.
Yeah, look, I don't know. Like, if your pet wants to wear clothes, or if it's a hairless cat and they're cold and they want a sweater or something like that, fine. But I'm not a big fan of, like, making your pets do some shit that just you want and that they're not happy about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't try to, like, impose costumes on Pookie, as cute as it would be. I don't really want to, like, make her do something that she doesn't really want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Pookie is independent. She doesn't ever, like, even if you pick her up, like, sometimes Tom picks her up and she's kind of like, yeah, she's just, like, putting up with it. But I wouldn't, like, put clothes on her or anything like that. Like I said, it would be super cute. I have thought about it. But I don't think she would like it. She'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, Mom? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Mike says, Tom, just go to bed, man. If you're you're bumming everyone out.
Yeah, okay.
Tom.
I'll just go to bed then.
Yeah, come on, Tom. You can hang in there.
No,
Where is that testosterone going?
I can't make it.
Man,
you go. Well,
see, that's the thing. You go to the bar all day, and then like we're trying to have a good time, and like you've already expended all of your effort on the schizophrenic girl.
No, it was other shit too.
Other shit.
That was just a story that I brought back. Now we've been on for 3 hours.
Oh, other stuff happened too?
Yeah.
It's not 3 hours.
Well,
it's only...
I'll talk to you guys later. I can barely hang on. I've been on for 3 hours. I'll see you guys later.
All right, well, I guess the show's over, even though I'm still having a good time, but okay.
No, stay on. You don't want to stay on?
Have to cut the hair on some breeds of dogs because they don't shed. Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is that at least Pookie has short hair. I brush her, and big things of hair come out. I told her the other day, because I was brushing her, and like so much hair came out that I was like, I can make a little tiny, like a little teddy Pookie, like a little teddy bear, like out of her hair, and that she could play with, and I thought that'd be really funny. But it's like I don't really have the expertise to do that. If you have a green apple, an apple will wake you up faster than caffeine. Solo Jenny show, yeah. Well, you know, I mean, it's not as fun with him here. He was kind of in a cranky mood when he was here earlier. I kind of felt like it was going to go like this. So, because he's been at the bar all day. I didn't know about the schizophrenic girl until he just like talked about it on the show. Have I seen the Sharon Stone movie Sliver? Yes, but I don't remember a goddamn thing about it. I don't remember a goddamn thing about it. So, you'll have to kind of like remind me. No more biker bar Jenny. He can go. I don't care. I'm not going to go there, but yeah. He left at, what time did he leave? It was before 2, that's for sure. No, it was before 1. I think he left at like 12:30. Because I had to do like a phone meeting with somebody, like about a graphic design job that I had at 2, and he had left like a long time before that. So I think he left at like 1:30, and he didn't get back to like 4. So he was there for like 3 hours. Camp Guy said, my cats have a heated pad and heated water bowl in the winter. They're outside the rest of the time. My wife pets them occasionally, but that's it. Honestly, I don't know. The house we used to live, we let the cats out. I wasn't happy about it. Especially, we live in Florida. There's gators, there's owls, there's all kind of like, there's bears. There's all kind of animals that could eat a cat, and I'm not super happy about letting them run around outside. But, they're cats, and they really do like to go outside and, like, chase moles or whatever. So at the old house, we let them do it, even though it, gave me stress every time we did it. But I kind of feel like it's better to, depending on where you are, to keep them inside. yes, they do get bored, but you have to... I mean, I try to, like, keep her entertained. You know what I mean? I try to have all kind of stuff. I have all kind of toys around. I have all kind of food around. I have all kind of, like, I brush her. I do kind of stuff and play with her. So I want her to, like, not get bored because I don't want her to really go outside. Beijing will still go outside. She won't go far, but she'll go kind of farther into the back porch and then come back in. Pookie will kind of go outside for a second, and then she'll be like, no, fuck it, I'm coming back in, because she's scared of the dogs next door. And to be honest, I'm fine with that. I don't really like, especially where we live now, which is really rural, and our yard, I mean, where we used to live was suburban, and there was other houses like really close by, everybody's bushes, and like the cats could go hide in other people's, you know, the neighbors' bushes or whatever, and it was they probably weren't gonna, you know, get fucked up by an animal because there was a lot of, like, you know, houses really close to each other. This neighborhood, there's a lot of houses, but they're very, very far apart. And our yard in particular, I mean, we planted some hedges around the outside, but they haven't grown in yet. It's going to take a year or two before they grow in, you know, at the property line. So our shit's like all open, and there's bears, there's eagles, there's alligators, there's like all kind of stuff around here, and I'm just like really not comfortable with her running around like in the open. So I'm kind of glad that she is scared of the dogs next door, so won't go outside. So basically, she just, like, stays up here. She goes downstairs sometimes and steals Beijing's food. Because Beijing's little bowl is down in the kitchen, and Pookie's bowl is up here. But Pookie will absolutely go down and, like, eat Beijing's food. That's why she's kind of getting, like, a little chubby, but that's okay. But yeah, so there's that. And, but she's not really into outside. She'll go out on the back porch for a second, but then she's like, nah, fuck it. And she just comes back in. Beijing will go out, but not that far. Cats can climb fence. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, Pookie used to at our old house. We had like a backyard, and then there was like it wasn't even a fence. It was like it's kind of a fence, but it was solid. But she figured out how to crawl under it. And behind the fence was the county path, and there was and then there was like a road, but it was farther away. So sometimes she would crawl under that, and she would sit by the path and like watch people or bears or whatever like going by. So there was that. But since we've moved here, she seems to have lost interest in going outside. She still jumps up on the the windowsills and like looks out the windows. But she doesn't try to, like, escape like she used to. I think she's, like, afraid of the outside here because it's too big and open. Which, like I said, is fine with me. I'd rather she stay inside. I got, like, really paranoid about her. So it's kind of like, even in the middle, a lot of times, like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night because I have to go to the bathroom. And then, like, I'll be like, I wonder where Pookie is. So when I get up to the bathroom, I look for her, and then, like, if I don't see her, like, I'll get back in bed and I'll do this. Like, I'll pat on my chest, and then, like, she'll run up. She runs up, like, my body's like, I'm right here, I'm right here. I'm like, okay. I was just checking. She knows that I have to check on her in the middle of the night. Rebecca's talking about The Prestige. That was a great movie. Honestly, I've been trying to, like, do a review on that for a really long time. I love that fucking movie. The book's good too. The book's a lot different than the movie. Like, the story's not different, but the focus of it is different, I feel like. But I really liked the book also, but in a different way. But the movie is amazing. Also, do you guys remember that was it the same year that The Prestige came out? There was another movie that came out called The Illusionist. And it was like almost the same story, I feel like, but I haven't seen it in a long time. And I was kind of like, that's weird that like two things came out at the same time. But I don't know if you guys have seen The Illusionist. The Prestige is a lot better, but you know, one of these days we'll do a review of it. Tammy says, my cats are inside and outside cats, but only because they're both strays. And they usually just follow me around my gardens when we're outside. Yeah, I mean, like I said, at the old house, I kind of feel like the cats wanted to go outside more because there was more... the neighbors' houses were really close, and they also had bushes and stuff like that they could hide in, they could explore. Here, it's kind of like big and open, and I think they're kind of like freaked out by it, which, like I said, is kind of fine with me because I would rather they stay in. Jenny, did you hear that Chris Stuckman made a Kickstarter for his new... Yeah, I saw that. I watched the video where he talked about... When I saw the video, I think he'd made like 800,000, so he was like pushing toward $1 million. But I saw later that he had made over $1 million. So that makes me really happy because you know what? Chris Stuckman, if you haven't watched his channel, he just seems like a really nice dude. And he's a filmmaker, he's a movie reviewer, but he makes films also. And he's really, really into film. And that makes me really, really happy that... and he seemed really happy about it. He seemed like really humble and happy about it. So I thought that was really cool. But when I saw that video, I think he'd made like 800-something thousand. And, you know, so they're going to make a movie. So we'll see if it's good. I hope it's good. Love The Prestige. I did. And Camp Guy also mentioned The Illusionist. Yeah. And I had kind of forgotten about it, but then I was on some streaming service the other day and I saw The Illusionist on there. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that came out like almost exactly the same time as The Prestige, to the point where it seemed like it was almost like a ripoff. But like I said, I know The Prestige was like based on a novel. Who wrote that novel? Christopher Priest? His last name was Priest. Christopher Priest, I want to say his name was. And I read the book. My brother gave it to me. I remember that. And, yeah, the book is really good, too. But it's different from the movie. So don't go into the book, like, thinking it's going to be the same as the movie. It's the same story, but it's... the approach of it is a lot different. But it's still good. Yeah. But, yeah, I love the fucking Prestige. I can see Jenny and all 4 of the main female characters in Yellow Jackets. It's such a good show. See, I need to watch this now. Make a screenplay with Tom as an actor in a supernatural movie. It could work. Yeah, you know. Yeah, The Illusionist had Edward Norton. Yeah. That's right. I mean, I would really actually like to watch The Illusionist again, because I think I only saw it once. The Prestige I've seen like 3 or 4 or 5 times. And I've read the book too. The Illusionist, I remember seeing it once, but then being like, wait, was this made to like capitalize on The Prestige coming out? Because it's kind of similar, but it's not that similar. I think it was just kind of one of those things where it was kind of in the zeitgeist that we're all doing stories about magicians at the moment, and that it just kind of happened. But yeah, so there might have been that. All right, so I guess we've been on long enough. Nobody just wants to listen to me prattle around. Tom took off and is probably sleeping at this point. Even though I'm going to have to go, like, fucking forage some food or something like that. Because I'm kind of hungry. I ate, but it was, like, a long time ago. Probably, like, 9 hours ago. But, yeah. So, thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us this Friday evening. And we will be back on Sunday talking about whatever movie we watch tomorrow. Which I don't know what it will be. But it'll be something good, I hope. And so, yeah, thanks for dropping by, everybody. Thanks for super chats. And we will see you guys on Sunday afternoon. Bye.